Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 243. My son and co-host and I are back down in the basement to talk about another week of professional wrestling. We've had a busy week of...
record, it's 3 in a week.
3 in a week. I was just going to say, we've been busy putting out content this week. If you haven't already checked it out, we did the long-awaited worst of 2024. We also did a review of AEW Revolution, which is now being discussed as, is that the greatest 3 matches back to back in the history of pay-per-views, right? So
I think it's the first 3 3-peat 5 stars.
Yeah, that's crazy. Amazing stuff. Yeah. So you can go and check that out. If you're new, we're going to get to talking about AEW Dynamite, NXT, Raw, maybe a bit of SmackDown, some trivia, some other stuff, but we talk about whatever here. Before we get into wrestling, there are timestamps if you'd like to jump ahead to anything you would like. We had somewhat of an eventful day yesterday. In terms of your life, we went to a fairly close university town to where we live to check out the proper campus, because you checked out their like smaller satellite campus, right? And you liked it, I think?
Yeah, it was good.
It was nice. So went up there, and then it turns out a couple of your mom's cousins who you quite enjoy their company. They live like 15-minute walk, probably 5-minute drive from the campus. So we went there for dinner, hung out with their kids and their dog. Your favorite dog, would you say?
Yeah, he's my boy.
Yeah, he is your boy. He's an interesting little fellow.
He is an interesting fellow.
And then when we visit this town, there is always a couple video game, like retro stores, I guess.
There's the main one we go to, and then I always forget about the other one.
So we went to the main one, and what did you see that you...
Well, I remember looking at them last time. I didn't get it, but they had a couple SmackDown games from back in the day on PS2. It was Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain.
Which are apparently like legendary.
Yeah,
right?
They're like all-time great wrestling games.
So they had them both there in stock for a fair price, but then you started...
But it's not like one where I can go backwards compatible, because 1, they're not backwards compatible, and 2, I don't have a PlayStation either way. Like Nate does, but I don't.
And there's something cool about owning the actual ones and not on an emulator or whatever. I don't know.
So then I found the
You're
old
like
PS2 at the other place.
Across the street.
Got that, which came with the controller. Then went back, got the games, got another controller.
PS2, very reasonably priced to buy.
Yeah, it was like barely over $100.
Yeah.
And that came with a controller and the
runs
cords.
Perfectly. So.
Yeah. And then so now we have an adapter so we can run it on modern TVs, because luckily the one I use is old enough.
So what game were we playing last night?
And memory cards so that I can save my story mode.
So
that's part of the reason is the one we played is like one of the greatest season modes.
And you couldn't save it.
I did play it a bit. I'll update you as how I did. So I was like
because to be fair, I started out dominating, and then at about the 3rd match, you figured it out.
I figured out more and more.
And then my time was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we played I think Shut Your Mouth was the one we played.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah. I like playing like 3 Stages of Hell was really cool, because we don't have that on the current ones. But like, so I played the story mode, and you get to start like, so you gotta think, I think this came out late 2002.
Considering, man, the play still holds up pretty well.
Yeah. It's super arcadey.
It is. That's partly why I like it so much.
Yeah, and that's less my style, but I like it for like a change of pace for sure. I did the draft, and so I was picking for SmackDown, and then the Raw was getting picked by a bot. I had like Lesnar and Rock and
you took all
Angle,
terrible people for some reason.
I took like Spike Dudley and Big Valboski,
right,
and Sean Stasiak.
Who did I make you take?
Tag champs. Oh, you wanted Albert. I
did want Albert.
I kicked his ass. Then I took a couple intentional DQ losses because I didn't want to play tag matches. Because one of the things that they implement on the newer games that I like is, you can break, if you're not the legal partner, you can break up a pin, but once you break it up once, you can't again until you tag in and out. Then like that resets.
Yeah.
So like then they're not breaking up every pin. You don't have to always worry about taking out the other person, so that you do have to do on these older ones, obviously, and it's just a pain in the ass. So because I know the tag matches hold no weight for me, I just hit someone with the chair and move on.
You do.
But I took the optional UK tour, and then so I beat Regal for the European title.
Nice.
Then they ignored it, and I got my world title match as promised, won that too. So technically speaking, I was a double champion.
So it looks like it's kind of like when I was a kid.
And Taz kept trying to carpool with me.
The choose your own adventure, right?
Kind of.
So it's a million different kind of paths you can go.
It's the branching stories, right?
That's cool.
And that one's pretty good. And apparently the season mode and Here Comes the Pain is supposedly better. So if I ever have time, I'll probably play those, especially now that I have the save data thing.
Sounds like you should get into video game reviews and stuff.
We could do that.
An offshoot of FNS. But Yeah, so that was our day yesterday, and then tomorrow we're a family dinner, I think, right? And then it's back to school and work for us. So we're gonna fire this out on Saturday evening, I guess, right now, later than usual, but it'll still be out on Saturday. So unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I say we get into it and get moving. Okay, we'll get into the wrestling right about now, and that's looking at some of last week's wrestling news and rumors. Going to talk ratings, but my computer shut off in between. So you were saying MLP tickets on sale soon?
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and get some, I think, for Toronto.
For the Toronto one, yeah.
And I haven't heard anything from the show that you said just happened in Windsor.
It is happening, I guess.
Like, happening right as we speak?
Night.
Almost? That's
something
cool.
Like that.
If you have a news story first, because it's all reloading. So if you want to... Oh, wait, it's back. Okay, sorry. Ratings this week. Very professional job we're doing here. NXT, 732,000 viewers, up 4.9%. Earned a 0.15 in the key demographic, exact same as last week. And went head-to-head with college basketball that is ramping up ahead of the NCAA tournament, as you're well aware, being a sports fanatic.
Yeah. Yep.
I will probably get you to do a bracket again. I do that. NCAA tournament. You know that thing I make you pick, and there's a million games.
Shouldn't that already be happening if it's March?
It's happening next week, I believe.
Okay.
So that's some of their competition. And Dynamite was 628,000, up a little bit, 4.7%, 0.16 in the key demographic. That moved quite a bit because it was really bad last week, so that's up 23%. Head-to-head with a Celtics Thunder game, and again, as a sports fan, you know those are two of the best teams in the NBA right now, right? So
yeah.
It's a big matchup. All right, what do you have?
Let me take a gander. Oh yeah, so more on the Baszler Cargill stuff because I find it amusing.
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah. So obviously, there's been the whole thing about there being a backstage confrontation between them.
I've heard like 6 people have corroborated the story, something like that.
Good for Baszler. And I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, like people seem to be siding with her.
Yeah, I heard Jade has not a lot of fans backstage.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had the whole backstage confrontation there. There was like Baszler putting in a snug choke in the match, right? So new report shedding more light is that Cargill had a degree of heat, obviously, prior to being written off. Later emerging, they had a confrontation, obviously. Meltzer sheds more light, saying that there have been in-ring issues during a series of tag matches it was Baszler and Stark against, obviously, Belair and Cargill. There is seemingly an issue due to Cargill allegedly blaming others and acting disrespectfully. Everyone knew of her relative inexperience and knew she was given a big push, or to be given a push, because of her look and whatever.
No one finds that endearing in the locker room.
Obviously. Especially if you're not, like,
actually
humble
good
about it and not good. Well, there's a difference if, like, she's, like...
Self-aware
and, like...
Yes.
You know, good about it, but obviously if she's not...
She does not seem like she'd be that type of person.
The one incident in particular that I find... crazy is like, so she pointed at a bruise on her arm, is telling Baszler she needs to learn how to work.
Interesting.
Which is crazy. And Baszler responded that, I like this. If she were shooting, then they would both know.
Yeah, they would.
Which is very true.
Yeah, they would.
And I find that so funny because, in my opinion, Baszler's always been the best of the MMA transitioned ones. Because I always thought she was better than Rousey.
Of the women, for sure. Maybe could be of men if they wanted her to be.
Oh, well. Yeah. Like, well, obviously with MMA transition, then it's like, well, Lesnar also did before. Lesnar and Lashley did. I'm talking about like the ones
saying she should have been like she Lesnar.
But from the ones that came straight from MMA, like, because everyone loved Rousey. And Rousey was the one with crazy crossover appeal, and I get why she was the big one. Don't get me wrong. It's just from a talent perspective, I think Baszler was always
she incorporates it into professional wrestling way better, like O'Reilly does for me.
I think O'Reilly does it really well. Ronda felt like it was obviously that mainstream appeal kind of thing.
It was
not as much integrated into wrestling, and just based on how Ronda would react to some fan things, like she clearly didn't want to.
No,
like I think when she got booed at Survivor Series that one time when Charlotte beat the crap out of her with the
feelings, I think.
Yeah, right, and like she does not like the fans, so it's that kind of thing. But anyways, I find that hilarious just because I think Baszler's fantastic, and honestly, Cargill is like. Not good. And like at best she was like fine in AEW and like she could get carried to a good match, but
she could, and then her promos were all exactly the same.
And then she plateaued, and I think she's arguably gotten worse in WWE. And this also says that later commentation rose after she blamed others for problems in matches, but I find hilarious because anytime I watched her matches on main roster, I remember her botching springboards and like I think you were saying like she looked confused in some of the matches, right? Times. Like I don't think it's very it's not very self-aware. Baszler opted to talk to her about her conduct, and Cargill got right in her face, and Baszler wasn't backing down, and honestly, I don't know why she would. After things calmed down, there are no further incidents of note, I guess, and apparently she also kind of had, heat for like wanting time off during the holiday house show loop and her subsequent injury. I mean, that one's a little more defensible because Steven says here like could just be with how her run was in AEW and how AEW operates. She might not know that the house shows are a lot more important in WWE, so that's a little more defendable.
The problem is, if push comes to shove, the company will probably side with Cargill, not Baszler.
I agree. Unless it's
too bad.
Unless, like you're saying, too many people are corroborating the story. Like, unless it bothers too many people, then it could be
if the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? If she's not...
I think that's a valid question already, even though it hasn't been that long.
Right. But if you look at her, she looks like $1 million. The attack on Naomi was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we like that. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully she was gone, getting better at in-ring wrestling, hopefully, but we'll see.
I was going to say she's no China, but like China also wasn't a great wrestler, I don't think.
She ended up being pretty good, though.
She was better, and also it was like
she got a lot better.
Where a lot of people were over in the Attitude Era,
yeah,
in spite of in-ring work, and also like she was able to wrestle men, which is kind of her thing. Like Cargill doesn't have that thing.
Yes.
That's going to like kind of save her, so... push Baszler, I guess.
I guess like that's the bottom line.
I think
that's the bottom line here.
Clearly, Cargill's not working out, so you just slot Baszler in there, and it's fine.
I'd be okay with it.
It's fine.
Sticking with women's wrestling, I guess. The Queen of the Ring actress that said that amazing line.
She apologized.
She apologized, and apparently that comment was related to something she said during a press tour for the movie. That basically, what was it? Wrestlers carry something inside where a voice tells them that they are going to win.
Yeah, okay, that's worse.
But it came across we're not.
I just think it was weird in general.
And we're not watching. Guess what? We're not watching the press tour for your movie. So
that too.
Even if it's directly related to what you said, you can't assume that anyone actually saw you say that. So what you said at the wrestling show out of context sounded crazy.
Yeah, I just think it's weird in general. I don't know.
And it's barely a news story, but I put it in there. She's sorry, and that might be exactly what happened, but it's still made for a super memorable moment that we'll be talking about for the worst of next, let's say January, February, or March, whenever we get around to it. Yeah.
Next quarter 2026.
That's right.
First quarter.
That's right. First quarter. First third. Give me third.
So then you get the April.
That's right. Yeah.
On SmackDown, Street Profits win their first tag titles in 4 years after being DIY in Spain.
And I thought they were supposed to be heels, but you said no.
I don't know.
Because I watched the highlight and people were thrilled for them.
I don't care. Like,
that's good for them.
I love the Profits. Like, if they just happen to turn face again, that's fine.
And DIY,
everyone loves the Profits.
Love them too, but they weren't actually doing any. Not that any tag team's going to do anything.
No, I feel like this will be the height of Profits run. Like, Triple H he hasn't booked any tag team storylines.
No company is right now. It's frustrating that we watch. Sorry, there might be some out there that love tag teams.
Because like Machine Gun just came in and won the titles from Bloodline. Bloodline only had the belts because Bloodline.
Judgment Day had them because Judgment Day when they were going
because they were
strong.
The hot storyline. But the storyline have anything to do with the tag titles? No. Mm-hmm. Does the Death Fires have anything to do with the trios titles? Also no.
It was an ornament.
But like then. Okay, so we're Machine Guns then. They lost to DIY to facilitate the heel turn, which actually, there was a story being told with DIY where, like, Ciampa was getting angry that they kept getting passed over for title shots.
Yes.
And he was like, they need to be more ruthless. Gargano doesn't want to. Then they took out Street Profits. Gargano turns heel. They win the titles. Okay, that was a story.
It was.
So that's fair. Then...
You got the titles, we got nothing for you.
Then they feud with Machine Guns because Gargano used to be their friend and they're mad at he turned heel. Great. Not much of a story there, but it stems from that, so whatever. But then we're just kind of facilitating like these tag team brawls every week, and like Profits kind of had a cool story. I watched the one vignette they had that I thought was really cool. And I like them having some edge. Even if they're cheered. Because I think like it makes sense. I think they're really cool and they've always been pretty popular.
It's the NXT move where they just put all the tag teams together and have them like fight and be like, see, we have a robust tag division. Look at all these teams.
And it sucks because especially SmackDown, Raw, it feels kind of shaky to me because like on Raw you have what? Judgment Day, A-Town, Down Under, New Day, LWO. Like not bad, but that's only 4 and it's very limited. I think SmackDown's pretty good because like obviously DIY is great in ring and like if you gave them the chance, characters they're great.
Mm-hmm.
Machine Guns are awesome in the ring. Mike, they're okay. You have Legado, which is now Garza and Humberto, which is better than Wild.
I like that team. They're never going to get any attention, though.
No, but if you let them, they're great.
They exist.
Pretty deadly.
Yeah.
they're not okay in the ring, but like they're kind of like LA Knight. If you give them like the character work they could do is great. They're really entertaining.
You would think that they would be a team that WWE would get behind because you can put them in entertaining segments and stuff.
Yeah, they're super entertaining. And then you have Profits who are great all around.
Yeah, especially
for WWE. Like they're good in ring and they're really good character wise, especially Tez, right?
Just gotta care,
right? Yeah. So like it kind of sucks. I'm happy for them though because I've always liked the Profits. They were really
me too.
They were cool. They had, I think. Aside from the match where the Usos lost the tag titles, I think my favorite match was against the Profits on Money in the Bank. I remember we both really liked that one. That was the one. It was a month before we had the match where Jeff Jarrett was a really good referee.
Amazing referee.
And they told me a lot too.
He's the best.
Yeah. But anyways, good for the Profits. And worth noting that Axiom also got to wrestle Gunther on the Spain SmackDown. So good for him. And like I saw some people say like that was one of their favorite matches, Gunther's run, because it's like actually him wrestling someone good. And
Axiom's awesome.
Not Jey Uso.
I saw the finish. That was it.
I'd rather watch Axiom main event WrestleMania than Jey Uso.
Me too. Sticking to tag team wrestlers, JD McDonough, injury update. Did you see?
I said he wants to be back within like a month or so.
Yeah, so out since the 27th, back at the gym, low impact cardio and Pilates, has full lung capacity back, which is crazy to say, right?
I watched most of his interview with Van Vliet already.
So yeah, he's saying within another month, but it's up to doctors, and sometimes he might be optimistic, right?
Seems to be doing good though.
But yes, steadily progressing, doing things, and has lung capacity back. So
I saw Cross tweet out something for him because he was. I remember I've seen it in the clip a couple times where Cross got asked about who's the toughest in the locker room. Then he didn't like. Obviously, he still isn't like giving a specific person, but he was kind of shouting out JD. I saw that.
Did he have his hair done to match JD when he said it?
No, but. Yeah, I'm hopefully McDonough's back soon. I imagine, like, I feel like they have to capitalize on the hype a bit because I feel like this could help him out.
It could, but I don't know what they would do.
I don't know. You can't turn him face, but like,
no, you can't. So
I don't know. I hope it just means something for him because he deserves it. And I think he also proved that he's like willing to do stuff too. Apparently, so worth noting in the Van Vliet interview saying. The crazy moonsault he did after he got whacked off the table. Apparently that was like the safe move. He was supposed to do a 450.
Of course.
So maybe that was him calling a fly there.
How about he comes back the same time Phoenix debuts and they're like a heel tag team and Penta gets involved, something.
Lucha Bros are coming to tag team. Apparently there's a vignette already teasing Phoenix on SmackDown though. So I'm like,
it should be soon, right?
I'm confused if they're on separate rosters, but also just like I guess the draft is coming soon, so like you could just draft them to.
And is there not still the
window
has closed?
The window's closed.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully JD's back soon. And I saw it was funny. He's also said that Judgment Day is falling apart without him.
That is true.
He's the glue.
That he is the glue. He might be.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Replace him with Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Feels like it. Former WWE superstar.
Oh boy.
And I do emphasize superstar. Wrestling first match since his release. One of our favorites.
So are you being sarcastic now?
No, he's one of our favorites.
Who is one of our favorite? Recently released, obviously.
He's released a little while ago. Oh, he got released.
Oh, Eichner?
In April last year. No.
Not Eichner?
No.
Oh. A real superstar. What?
We love him.
Who got released that we love other than Eichner?
Eichner is a good one. I love Eichner.
I know. I don't know who.
It's Von Wagner.
Oh, so you were being sarcastic.
Yeah. He's wrestling for an indie promotion, Midwest
What's his name?
Wrestling. I think he's going by Cal Bloom because I think that's his real name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's the
Wayne Bloom's son.
Yeah. He's.
I mean, did he do some memorable stuff? Yes, he did. Does memorable necessarily mean good? No,
it does not.
No, it does not.
The two things I remember him for are Logs and Come Tuesday.
Of course, with O'Reilly out in the woods.
Second mention of O'Reilly.
Amazing stuff. Okay, I have, just because we're not caught up on it, so it's kind of newsworthy. Did you see the semifinals for the New Japan Cup?
I did. I only know that Jeff Cobb is in there.
So Takagi beat Drilla Merloni to make it. Umino beat Cobb in the quarterfinal, so he's out. Finley beat Uemura, and Sabre beat Taichi in the quarterfinal. So that's sets up, I don't know, who wins that? Sabres won it twice, it says here.
I feel like they could go with Umino.
I don't,
because they're gonna try
and elevate him,
or maybe
right?
Go Takagi because you gotta think. I think Goto's champion, right? So
right,
probably not Sabre just because he just lost the belt.
I know it's kind of like they're not backburnering him, but moving him out of
so probably
prime
not him.
spot.
I'd probably bet on Takagi or Umino.
Me too. I only have one other thing after that.
So speaking on Jeff Cobb, apparently WWE's reportedly interested in him, and he's said to be on the internal roster. That's kind of surprising.
He's awesome, but I can't see them using him in a way that I would enjoy. I don't know.
He's not very interesting, but he's cool to watch.
He is cool to watch, but will he work that style there? And that's his thing, is like the way he works is what's interesting to me.
Yeah. As long as he keeps his finisher and does his moonsault.
Tour of the island, keep that.
Do his goofy little moonsault.
Moonsault that just doesn't look right.
It looks so funny to me every time.
At Sacrifice, did you see the only thing
Heel turn?
Who?
Nick Nemeth?
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't include that. Yeah, him and his brother attacked the Hardys. Is that what it was?
Just Matt, because Jeff was in the
brothers versus match. Brothers. No, but Spitfire lost to Ash and Heather by Elegance, and then
That's what you report?
You see who showed up, only because it's related to NXT.
Oh, yeah.
Lash and Jakara Jackson showed up, so that looks like that'll happen at some point, but...
You want them to lose to Dana Brooke?
I like Spitfire. I like Danny Luna a lot.
Yeah, we saw him.
And I don't like Ash and Heather at all, so I sort of but I mean, Spitfire have had a very lengthy run, I feel like, right? So.
Well, yeah, because who's going to beat them?
Right. That's part of it. But anyways, looks like Lash and Jakara are next in line for that. And that's all I have.
So I saw apparently Luchasaurus returners were considered for Revolution.
Oh, considered for Revolution.
Yeah.
So I wonder if...
Probably in the main event. I actually, I don't know if they could have or not. I don't know how he's doing. He's said to be doing better, which is good, because I'm hoping he recovers soon.
I wonder, because obviously the path of the patriarchy changed pretty drastically, so is that...
Nicholas is
worked into it?
Surrogate for...
Or is it now like they have a firm grasp of when Luchasaurus is coming back, so they're working it all together, you know what I mean?
Maybe, but it feels to me like he could be in place of Luchasaurus turning.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah. But I obviously, if they could have, I wish he was in there, because I feel like him getting involved, then Christian losing like he did would have made a lot more sense, because I feel like Christian kind of looks like an idiot for how it happened. But if Luchasaurus had returned and attacked him, then it's not really his fault.
And I feel like we're quickly supposed to forget about that anyways. Feels like we're moving on to something else.
So that would have been better, I think. I think it would have helped things. Maybe would have not helped the overbooking things, but I think that would have kind of furthered another storyline. So I think it would have been...
And explained.
Would have helped, actually.
Yeah, would have helped Christian
would help Christian losing. Because I think it's fine to get the contract off of him.
I do too.
Because I don't think we should have him as world champion.
I think it's helpful.
But I think it could have been done
I just think it also helped him move on to something more interesting.
Yeah, but we discussed that already. So go listen to it or watch it or whatever. Right. Then one more thing with Revolution was apparently it was AEW's highest pay-per-view buy since All In last year.
Oh, great.
Reportedly it was between 135 and 140,000.
We're one of them.
Yeah, and so going into 2024, it was reportedly kind of a downswing for them. Then they kind of boosted up for All In, and I think things were low again. And partially it was due to their pay-per-views being off Bleacher Report, so they lost that market.
Yep.
But obviously now they got Prime and adding to their list, so I think they're fine again.
We're happy with Triller, right?
Yeah, Triller worked out really well.
And it looks like we own them forever, too.
Yeah, which is because we still have the MLP one we got in October.
Yeah, so that's cool. Is that it for news?
Yeah.
All right, so wrapping news up, moving into our most in-depth review every week, we will talk about the episode of AEW Dynamite. Talk Dynamite to me.
Talk Dynamite to me. All right.
All right.
Got you say it.
Oh, you did, but it doesn't matter. As long as I don't lead with okay or all right, then it's a win. But I did specifically think about it before. I think about it as I'm doing what I do in between segments. I'm don't do it, but it still sneaks through sometimes. Not today.
Okay, all right, there it is. We start with hearing from Kenneth Omega, who ruined everything forever.
Yeah.
Just worst champion ever. That's going to be his award. I'm going to give him worst champion.
Just because he beat your boy, you're mad.
Worst title change. Hey, I waited a long ass time for that, all right? Wrestle Dream was the greatest night of my life. I waited.
But maybe Takeshita's moving up to other things.
I feel like not.
Maybe not right away.
The world title seems
I have questions after some of the stuff tonight about Takeshita, but I'll let you talk about it first.
All right. I have questions about other people.
Okay.
I'm sure we both do, actually.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
Maxwell.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He says before 2025, he was more than happy to be able to stand in the ring and say he was cleared, and barely in the new year now, he's back and he's got a title, a singles title they didn't deserve. He says there's one more person to thank because he thanked the fans, and he thanks Takeshita because we should all thank Takeshita. Thank you, Takeshita.
That seemed a bit weird, no? That's part of what I'm like.
But, like, he's a babyface, so I get it. And, like, Takeshita, a good wrestler.
It's true.
So.
Okay, carry on.
What's true?
That Omega's a babyface and Takesha's a good wrestler?
Yeah, okay, yeah. See, I'm right. He says Takeshita pushed him farther than he could have pushed himself. And, well, because he's not going to... I think that's true because you're not going to punch yourself in the gut that hard, right? So you can't punch your own diverticulitis.
You're Dwight Schrute defending yourself from yourself. You might.
If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have this belt. Since Takeshita made this a great title, yeah, he did do that. And a true international title on MLP. We watched that. That was epic. He says he thought it was a great idea when TK came up with the Eliminator tournament because he wants whoever holds his belt to be able to call themselves the best. It's weird that he talks about it like it's almost a world title. Like he's like ignoring Moxley almost. He's like,
which is fair. You don't even literally get to see that title anymore.
That's true. That's fair, actually. This, at least in terms of what's on screen, this is the most beautiful belt.
Because, yeah, you don't see the other one.
Hey, Moxley picked a beautiful briefcase. I'll say
I guess, yeah. If it's in there, even.
That's true. Allegedly.
Couldn't open it with a board with nails in it.
Yep. Who would have thought? Next time,
perfect tool. It was the perfect choice of tools to open a briefcase.
I think next time I'm gonna try smashing with like a level. You know, like the level you'd use to like make sure things are balanced. I'm gonna hit it with that.
It might work.
I feel like that would be more effective because think about it. It's just as flat as a wooden board, but it's heavier and has less spiky things on it. So therefore, better.
Maybe
more effective for smashing. Definitely not less effective. He says he'll be watching closely and he wants to face the best no matter where they're from. So no, what's it, xenophobia?
Right.
Nailed it. He does his sign-off catchphrase, and that's that.
Yeah, a pretty, like, straightforward babyface thing. That
yeah.
It's basically, it sounds like we're turning the page from Takeshita to, like, open challenge is a strong word, but, like, I'm going to defend this a lot. Sounds like, right? He wants to be the fighting champion thing.
Takeshita kind of did, but not as much on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like, he defended a couple times in New Japan. There was the MLP one.
So does this mean, we're not getting a rematch with Takeshita?
Probably not.
Felt like it's a moving on, right?
I think.
Why so much praise for Takeshita?
Because he's awesome. It transcends babyface heel dynamics.
He went beyond being like a little complimentary, I thought.
Are we setting up like a babyface term for Takeshita?
That's what I'm asking. And then think about what he does later in the show.
What, he beats up Max
Who Caster, is what? Like an obnoxious heel. And the crowd loves it.
I guess, but like, I don't know.
Like, I'm not saying it's a bad idea or anything. I'm just
I think it's a bad idea because I think he needs to keep Callis.
I know you want the mouthpiece to stay.
Because I love Takeshita, but
I know.
I don't know how he fares by himself.
I just thought he went a little beyond the normal, like, he's a really good wrestling heel.
I don't think too much of either, because for me, Kenny, it's like, it's kind of like when Mox was babyface, and he always put over his opponents really well, but even in character. Which is something I always liked about him.
And he does that again tonight.
Yeah, whether I like that or not. Yeah. He always does that well. He does. I always like that about him. So Kenny did that, and I like that. I appreciate that because I love Takeshita. I think he's fantastic. And like in terms of his match later, like obviously we'll talk about it still, but I don't think too much of that because for me it's like the caster thing kind of gives, since we're clearly not putting stock into him.
Clearly.
It gives
he's just there for everybody to beat up.
To get a heat up win.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like it was just an easy way to give Takeshita a heat-up win that, like, kind of works in the story. Instead of it just throwing out a jobber there, why not make it so then it's like you have a reason for Takeshita to just come out and have a match instead of, like, them booking a jobber. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a way for it to kind of, like, set up, like, naturally, quote-unquote.
Yes, and he gets, like, a mini momentum from beating.
Right.
And Caster gets on TV and does his thing.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like that's all it was, and I don't think too much about the dynamics because I feel like then if we were going to start teasing a babyface turn, maybe they will do this, but I think we could have seen it here if this was the case. We would see like some sort of tease between him and Callis.
And that's what I'm saying is this feels like an awkward starting point if it's a starting point.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think it is, but if it is, I do think it's a weird way to start. The tournament seems pretty dope though. I'm glad we're probably setting up a contender. The wild card probably is Speedball or Walking Weapon.
We love tournament. We're tournament guys.
Yeah. This one, I did misread the bracket. It was 4 matches into a 4-way, but it's still a mini tournament. So I'm still okay with that. And the matches all seem pretty solid.
Yep.
Omega's leaving, but then this is when the Ops make their entrance. Shibata stares at Omega because Shibata has a match in this tournament. He's facing Ricochet. I think it'll be tonight.
So Omega Takeshita form a face tag team and go after. They're the first real challengers for Hurt Syndicate. And Kenny teases belt collecting again. You heard it here first.
The Omega Powers 2.
Right?
Electric Boogaloo. The Ops face Jobbers. Hook has his own towel now.
Amazing.
Joe has a white towel. Shibata has a red towel. Hook is a black towel.
Right. Did Joe get in this match at all?
I don't remember.
I don't think he did. I could be wrong.
I don't know. That's fine. Hook throws a guy, hits a guy. Shibata boots a guy, chops a guy, drop kicks a guy, and suplexes a guy. Puts a guy in a sleeper, PKs a guy, and pins the guy.
This was Shibata's about to have a match. We need to get people to see Shibata.
I think so, right? But also kind of keeps a trio visible, which I think is, so it's kind of a two birds, one stone kind of thing.
And showcase for him, and I don't even think Joe got in there.
No. But it keeps the trios division visible, so I'm fine with this being here. I don't really have much on the match because it was a squash, like we're saying.
Yeah.
But I just hope we get more legitimate trios matches. I'm glad we're building trios either way. Like, these guys have been on TV a decent amount, so I like that. And Undisputed Era have been on a decent amount, so hopefully they got, like, even though we don't watch it, they have been on Collision a decent amount. So that's good, even if we're not always watching it. Yeah. That should still be considered as, like, they're getting time, right?
Yeah, it's canon.
I hope they got on Dynamite more, because obviously I think that's their, like,
Me too.
It's their Raw. But I do like that we're getting trios more.
Me too.
Kicking around.
Trios and tag, I'm up down for all of it.
Which Undisputed have been doing both, because we got Brody and O'Reilly against Revival again. Which
that sounds good, yeah.
Watch that.
When's that? Today?
Right?
Yeah.
Because you watched that first match.
I did. It was good.
I'll watch this one probably.
Okay.
Because I'd be interested in Shibata Ricochet too.
Me too.
Shibata Ricochet seems good. And it's Mark Briscoe, Mark Davis, which could be like that seems like a fun match to get on Dynamite. You know what I mean? Because Mark Davis is good. So I'd probably watch that just because I'm watching it.
You can check it out.
Then speaking of Ricochet, he gets a promo here. He talks about his quest for gold not being over just because he got screwed at Revolution and he didn't want the ugly robe anyways. He says the international title looks good and it would look better on him. He says he knows what Shibata is capable of, and he's giving him the option of giving up and not showing up to Collision because he's afraid what will happen when he beats Shibata. It's still his time. Chicken laugh.
So it feels like Revolution's a bit of a reset, right? We've got Omega going in a different direction, Ricochet going in it, which is fine. I think that's good.
I feel like there's a chance Ricochet doesn't go in a different direction.
True.
Though.
So I was
interested. I'll talk on that because I think I mentioned it to you already.
I was interested in this promo because it's kind of the first one he's cutting directed at someone other than Swerve and Nana since he's gotten cool.
That's what I've seen people say, and I kind of agree. Like, that was his heel turn feud, which was really great, but now you have to see how he stands on his own.
Correct. And I thought he did a good job here.
I agree.
He mixed in, like, the abrasive heel, and then he kind of shifted to, like, a confident, fired up one. So I kind of see him as a guy, like, the crowd's going to automatically vocally support his opponent. Do you know what I mean?
Like Shibata's going to get more over because he's against Ricochet.
In the proper way. Not that Ricochet's go away heat, but that people, like, it's fun to mock him for being bald, even though half the wrestling world is bald, I think. But anyways, I just think he's kind of that guy. So I think he's a favorite in this tournament, probably.
I could see it, but for me, I think there's also a good chance he loses because my fantasy booking, partially because I want other things to happen, and also partially because I'd like a rubber match.
Yeah.
Because they're at 1-1.
Good point.
And I feel like that's never a good way to end
things. It is not.
And so I feel like he'll only let his loss to Swerve slide as long as he has another path to goal. Like, right now, he's okay with, like, getting screwed because he feels screwed because, heel logic.
Yeah.
He's okay with getting screwed because, like, he's like, oh, I got another chance of getting a belt, so I'm going to focus on this because you robbed me of my main shot. So this is, like, his plan B. And I think he's obviously going to beat Shibata. No offense to Shibata. There's no chance
think that's
he wins
pretty
that.
clear, yeah.
That's a lock. But then I'm thinking he doesn't win the four-way, maybe even takes the fall. Like, he's the kind of guy where I could see him, if he's not winning, obviously, I think he's a decent guy to take the fall because of the chicken heel he kind of is, right?
But I think if you want to keep elevating Ricochet, now's the time to get him in the ring with Omega.
Right. That's a fair point too, but I think we have him lose. Whether he takes the pin or not, he doesn't win, is my point.
Yes.
So then at Dynasty, since he can be like, okay, I can't win gold, Swerve, you can't either.
Okay.
He screws Swerve and costs him the match against Mox. Because I think Mox has to win, right? I love Swerve, but I don't think he's winning.
And I would like that Swerve not losing clean.
Right. So I think this would give Swerve an out and also not be the same cheap Death Rider thing.
And then we go back to Ricochet Swerve
and
for
then,
one more.
Right, at Double or Nothing, I was thinking,
some big
at least
gimmick.
until promos later, Mox can keep his title until Hangman can come up. We could do Mox, Hangman, at Double or Nothing. I think that'd be great because that's like the original show. That's 2 AEW originals because Mox debuted at the first show, so I'd call him an original.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
Because, like, what, you want him to be in the Jacksonville build-up? You can't, right? So, obviously, I think him being at the first Double or Nothing, he's an original, right? We'll call it that. And so then you have them as the title match, and then I'm thinking you do a big stipulation match between Swerve and Ricochet at Double or Nothing, and then based off this whole storyline, you could pivot into 2 great matches there. And for me, obviously, since I'm sure everyone knows the deal with the wild card later on, I would book Speedball Omega because for me, like you're saying, what's striking with Ricochet, I feel like Omega's gonna hold this belt for a decent bit. I think Ricochet needs to wrap up this feud fully. And then there's a chance to revisit this. Like, there's a chance for Ricochet to pivot into this feud without a number one contendership. I feel like the only way Speedball's getting on a pay-per-view anytime soon in a singles match is this.
And Omega Speedball would be nuts.
Right? That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I think awesome. Omega Speedball would be, no offense to Ricochet, probably a little crazier, just from an in-ring standpoint. And also weaker on build, which is why having this tournament to get Speedball the shot would help him out. Because I think Ricochet, I could easily see him, like, after all this done, so, like, he can lose to Swerve, and all that's done. Omega can face whoever he's going to face up or anything. And I think at, maybe they could face up for Mindor or even not, but I think at All In, I think the plan is that unification match with Omega.
I do too.
Okada, right?
Feels like it to me.
But I think even if we waited till August or something with Ricochet, if Omega's still holding the belt, Ricochet could get a title shot then, which I know is a while away. But like I said, I think this character has a lot more longevity for Ricochet
I do too.
Than he does a bland babyface, which, no offense, that's what Speedball is.
Yeah.
Right? So I think maybe Speedball getting a shot sooner is better for him, and Ricochet I think will be fine. And I have no problem with striking with iron hot. I would prefer we cap off the story with Swerve, also find an out for Swerve at Dynasty. And like kind of clear up the world title picture a bit. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it would kill a lot of birds. So
yeah,
I could see Ricochet winning next week. I prefer him lose now.
Yeah.
If anything. And kind of like wait now. And then like later on, after Omega's had a better run, maybe Ricochet has a better chance of winning too. Right?
Yeah.
There's also that to consider. So I don't know. There's a lot of things
that could work.
That could happen. We'll see. I think it's safe to say, so right now it's sitting at Cassidy and Speedball, and then obviously we'll get Ricochet later, and I think Mark Briscoe, obviously, because I don't think Mark Davis is winning, right? So
I guess. I don't know.
I doubt Davis is winning. So your pool is likely going to be Speedball, Ricochet, Cassidy, Davis. Or sorry, not Davis, Briscoe.
Yeah.
Briscoe's a no-go. Cassidy's had the belt a bunch. And
he doesn't feel like he's positioned for that right now.
He just lost it to Keshta.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's also out. That brings it down to Speedball and Ricochet. So I think either one of those is fine.
Yep.
Then we got a Revolution recap, and we're announced it's Moxley versus Copeland in a street fight for the title next week. How do you feel about that?
I'm not a fan. I guess the fact that it's street fight adds a little bit because I don't want to watch them straight up wrestle again.
Right, because I think they kind of had the street fight style match in Aussie.
So I think this will help, but I don't.
Are you thinking this is?
Again.
I've seen some people saying this is kind of like a makeup match for Revolution. Are you like? What do you think about that?
Is it? So I don't think so because I don't think.
Or is it like the plan?
That it was always planned.
Yeah, because like I feel like it has to be
one
planned,
sucked
right?
on the pay-per-view, they're making up for it.
That's what some people.
I don't think that Mox would have. I don't think they would admit, and it wasn't terrible. Like it wasn't good.
Just, nah.
Right.
Like it was
but
underwhelming.
I don't think. I mean,
in a vacuum, do I think it's a bad match? No, but
compared to what came before it,
compared to literally 3 5-star matches in front of it,
and was it a main event on a major pay-per-view? Probably not.
On a different pay-per-view, maybe.
I don't know if why they think people want it again.
I don't know.
I don't.
I think it's just have a clean write-off because obviously Copeland didn't lose. I think like from a kayfabe perspective, it makes sense because obviously Copeland didn't lose.
Yeah, he's saying he didn't actually lose, which is true.
And I think at the very least, like you said, I'm grateful that it's not a straight.
No, I don't want another regular match. It has to be some sort of stipulation.
I think 1, Moxley thrives better in these kind of matches, and 2, so does Copeland.
Yeah.
Moxley can wrestle some good matches, but it also depends on
this where Jay White turns.
Opponent. Maybe, but I really hope not. To me, it feels like he's now pivoting.
Yeah.
Again, like you did mention Copeland here, obviously, but now it feels like he's more set on the title. So I feel like he's more so waiting for the result, not trying to influence the result.
Right.
Because, and obviously I could talk about this later, but since you brought it up, if he's waiting for whoever's winning to get the shot at them, right? Then I feel like him turning on Copeland would actually make less sense because, one, if Copeland were to win, hypothetically, he's an easier target. No, because one, he's older. Two, he's alone.
Yes.
Right? Or even if he has FTR, wouldn't you rather deal with FTR than all the Death Riders?
Yes.
Right? And then also, if he were to screw Copeland, then he would have to be dealing with Copeland, like we are talking about, right? Which would take him farther away from the title. So really, it doesn't make sense for him to turn.
I hope not.
I also hope not. I hope he turns heel, just not in this context.
Yeah, that's fair. Not this way.
And honestly, like, I think he's so great. I'm okay with him being a babyface until the time is right.
He's good.
Because I think he's a good babyface.
He is.
We got Swerve promo from Revolution. We get a few segments from. It's like we interviewed them after the show. Yes. We're showing it now. There's a few of those here.
Yeah, there is.
We get one with Swerve. He talks about making history a year ago in Dynasty's main event, and he says he'll do it again this year. Copeland comes in, says his neck is sore. He says he didn't lose tonight, and there's a chance Swerve will have to face him at Dynasty. But if he doesn't and Swerve wins, he'll definitely be looking at him then. Copeland says good luck and leaves. It was fine. I do find it interesting. Swerve's challenging for the title at Dynasty back-to-back years. It's a shame he won't win this time.
I know.
I did not need Copeland to be here, but he was fine. He's also not winning.
I thought it was kind of funny that your babyface, middle-aged white guy is interrupting the black guy as he talks about like black excellence and his achievements. Like, just completely cut him off. I don't love Swerve being so cool about this. So again, if I'm Nana, this is not the guy that's laser focused on becoming champion. The guy Nana wants would be pissed off that Edge is quote unquote jumping the line now, right? So I would have preferred Swerve not be so like, sure, buddy, whatever. But
well, I guess he doesn't care because he has his guaranteed shot.
He does, but I think it should be like, I'm next. You can go later. Go to the back of the line. You just lost. Guess. But anyways.
Then we get a Mox promo, I guess, to follow up on Copeland there. He appreciates the irony in Copeland being the ultimate opportunist, and he got screwed at Revolution, obviously. He says he should have put Copeland out before Christian came out, and he underestimated him. He says he hurt Copeland, but he kept coming forward, and he says whatever Copeland's made of is rare. Copeland hates the rules, and he says take them out along with Copeland's excuses, obviously referring to the street fight. He said his dad told him to measure twice and cut once, and he underestimated Copeland's drive to climb no matter what. He says there's a reason he's a world champion. There's a difference between amateurs and professionals, and one of which is that he never makes the same mistake twice.
Yeah, so Moxley did what he always does, right? He made Edge sound great. He delivered.
I just don't like that it's Edge.
He delivered this really well. Sounded awesome. It's just the difference is this time it's in service of a story I don't care about. When Mox is cool and doing this with stories I care about, then this is awesome, right? Like, he does a really good job. There's no doubt about that. It's just what it's in service of, I don't care.
Yeah, like, I thought it was good, and I do like that he always puts respect on people while keeping character. But I feel like based on his current character, coupled with the match they had, it just doesn't feel right. Like, Copeland doesn't feel like he warrants that, but obviously this is what's gonna happen.
It is.
This has to be over next week, so Mox can move on to Swerve, and Copeland can go somewhere else.
Agree.
Then we get Hobbs and Hologram against Brian Cage and Dralistico.
So it's
billed as a double payback match, dude.
Right.
So Hobbs had issues with the Callous people, Hologram had issues with the LFI, and we're mishing that together.
It's an interesting combination of guys. Kind of feels like you're at a house show.
It does, but I was happy with this.
Me too. It was fun.
Hologram for a suicide dive got caught perfectly in a suplex from Cage. It felt like he was supposed to stall more, but like it was flush into a suplex. Like,
super
it was
impressive
crazy.
Nonetheless. Yeah.
Yeah, like it looked crazy clean. Dralistico hit a crazy crucifix bomb. Hologram came back with a following moonsault slam. Meat strike exchange between Hobbs and Cage. Hologram hit a Hurricane Run to Dralistico. Then he tried on Cage, got caught with a powerbomb, and then he buckle bombs him into Hobbs. Cage muscles Hobbs up for an outside in superplex, which was crazy.
Wild.
Hobbs is a running power slam to Dralistico, then gets clocked by a discus lariat from Cage. And Hobbs pins Dralistico after a mid-air spine buster for the win.
So there were some problems, right? Like,
I think there was a couple miscommunications between Dralistico and Hobbs.
Dralistico missed a top rope move, and because Hobbs kind of sat up as he was coming off. And then Dralistico went for the pin anyways, and then just bailed out on the pin and stood up. And then there was awkwardness between him and Hobbs
just before the finish.
Before the finish. But
I thought it was a really fun TV match.
Me too. And it was kind of getting two rematches from Revolution in a way, right? All at once. And just like, obviously it's a really cool mixture of two powerhouses and two like super
right.
guys.
Like it was kind of an interesting mix because you have a Haas fight going on, then you have a lucha match going on, and then it kind of mixes into each other at times. And I thought it was really cool because the luchadors got to pull out some crazy stuff. Powerhouses look good. Other than those slight errors, I thought this was a really fun TV match. I really liked it.
It was like an empty calorie match. Yeah. Right? It was delicious, but it didn't really do anything for you.
Crap on this for like the crazy lucha stuff and it being so random. But I thought this was fun, random, and it was harmless. Like it was really enjoyable. I thought it was some good action. Nothing super meaty, ironically.
Agree. I thought it was just a fun TV match.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Then we get a Hurt Syndicate interview. Flew from Revolution. Shelton asks about who's asked they're being next. MVP talks about nobody working harder, and he says he loves their dynamic. Nobody works harder than them, so therefore nobody can play harder than them. They've proved they're the baddest, and now it's time to be the chillest. Shelton mentions the gym, and MVP says he wants them to enjoy themselves and take a week off, and Shelton says he's still going to go to the gym or something. But I really like this because I thought it made them look cool in kind of a different way. Like it has them coming across cool because they're kicking people's asses nonstop and they just want to keep going. But then MVP has to tell them to just
and they're still like we're still going to the gym though.
Yeah, and so I just like this. It made them look killer in a different kind of way, and I thought it was a cool bit just to kind of add to their characters. But even though it's not much, it was just kind of interesting.
Is it at all related? Is MVP getting them out of the way to go full court press MJF and other people? Like, do you think that's related at all?
I don't think so. Because I feel like it'd be too soon for that kind of thing. I feel like it's an interesting thought, but I feel like that's one of those times where it's reading too much into it.
He wants to recruit people that maybe they don't approve of?
I don't think he would do that.
As he recruited a white guy?
I told you people call that Owen Hart in the Nation.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because I feel like that's a story to tell when they're not doing as well. But right now, they just started, and they're kicking ass nonstop.
I just hope they start a program, like they find somebody to go in a lengthy feud with at this point. Yeah, but they're cool.
I don't think it'll be that, and I also hope it's not that.
No, me too.
Then we get a recap of Storm and Maze, who just capped off with that match at Revolution.
Amazing match.
That was amazing, but now we have to hear Toni Storm talk.
I didn't hate this.
I still hate it. I always hate it. She said, with stitches in her lips, staples in her head, and glass in her ass, she is here to say that this tramp is still the champ. I feel stupid saying this. So dumb. She said it was her Hollywood ending and a chunk of her heart would be gone forever. But when it comes to the women's world title, it was well worth it. She said it was her honor to be women's world champion while claiming it's the most talented locker room in all of pro wrestling. She talked about the other world title being in a briefcase, and we have belt collectors referring to people like Monet. She said competing against her is like being at the zoo because she'll eat you like a lion. She said you'll never hear her meow because she promised she is no pussy.
Yep.
And she said nobody swings like Toni Storm. So ladies, put your keys in the bowl and let's get this orgy started.
I like that part.
I feel so stupid. Storm said it'll be messy, it'll be sweaty, and it will always be timeless. She ends it, but then gets beat up by Megan Bayne.
Woo! She does. So this was too long, I thought, but once she started, because again, Revolution was like, a reset, because now she's like, I'm done with May. Put your keys in the bowl, lady. Same kind of idea. Like, I'm going to take whoever it is.
And I like that. It's just, I don't like the way she speaks. And it's so dumb and nonsensical. Like, to me, it's the anti-Mariah May. Because it's obviously a cartoonish caricature. So it doesn't feel real, unlike May. It's this hokey rhyming or metaphorical garbage that's supposed to be old-timey just for the sake of it. Like, there's some parts where it was less of that. And I like that.
I thought the back half of this was amusing.
It's just, it's so laboring to get through. And I just can't take it seriously. It's the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
And it's so dumb to me. And I should be happy Bayne is in the title mix so soon, and I am happy for her, but I'd be extremely surprised if she challenges Storm soon and wins.
I wish
so, and I will be annoyed if she doesn't win. So I don't want her there if she's gonna lose.
I'm similar. I said that I wish they had put a bit more time into building Bayne as something other than just a big powerhouse because not even that.
I feel like she's looked killer, but it's also because Storm hasn't held the title for that long, so it doesn't make me think she's gonna lose.
There's no chance, right? And that's unfortunate because she's in a program that she's not coming out victorious.
I'm okay with, because obviously with what Bayne does later, I'm okay if this is just her throwing her hat in the ring, and I think you wrap up the feud with Stylander, throw Bayne in the Owen Cup, and she could win that, and then get the title shot. That's okay, because I think that would also buy Storm enough time to have some time with the belt. And then lose it to Bayne, because we don't need a Storm holding it for another year.
She's going to have it for a long time, I think.
We can't do this again.
Bring in Athena.
Please. Then we get Beast Mordos taking on the wild card in the Eliminator tournament thingy majiggy.
Yes, as widely speculated.
It was Speedball.
Yep.
It's Speedball.
Good Canadian boy. Love
Good
Speedball.
Canadian boy. Good to see him. Figured out all his nonsense. It's a shame he couldn't get in the C2. That would have been crazy.
He's awesome.
But yeah, so Speedball's here. He got a solid reaction, I think. It was pretty cool. He did the thing where he does like the rapid kicks and then the roundhouse at the end, kind of like Naomi does, but like better.
Way better, yeah.
Tope con hilo from Speedball, a running shooting star for 2. Inside to outside springboard moonsault, which is kind of crazy looking. Mortis comes back with a pop-up Samoan drop for 2. He hits his avalanche military press slam for 2. He does like a nasty, his like backbreaker discus lariat combo. Then Speedball counters the powerbomb into Hurricane Rana for 2. Back and forth on the pins. Then PK and a standing moonsault knee drop from Speedball.
Mm-hmm.
And then Speedball, the finish comes. He hits a crescent kick, which is like he spins twice, hits a massive hook kick.
Does. Drilled it.
For the win. Like absolutely, as Excalibur said, knocked his block off.
But no ultimate weapon. But
that looked pretty gnarly.
Other than that, exactly what you expected going into this, and that's a good thing. Like, Bailey started out hot, and then Mordos did a bunch of his awesome stuff kind of in the middle before Bailey bookended.
I wish he got to do more, but ultimately it's a Speedball showcase,
it is.
Right? And I think it's meant to make him look good, and they did that because I thought Mordos is a great base.
Perfect choice for this.
He did what he was meant to do, right?
Yes.
And he did it well. He got a bit of stuff in here, and even like the little stuff he did, he just looks amazing, right? He looks killer, and Bailey looked awesome. I think he got to show off everything that made him look cool. Like he was crazy athletic. The Taekwondo background was on full display. I was disappointed no ultimate weapon, as are you, but the crescent kick looked nasty too. Good. And I hope he wins the 4-way because I just, storyline aside from Ricochet, like what I was saying, I think him versus Omega is all kinds of insane.
Yeah, it'd be super
potential.
Good. Yeah, so I thought this was really fun as well, and just like good tournament match, right? And what do you think they do with Bailey? Like,
I feel like he's gonna be a fun TV match guy,
and that's it. Because character-wise,
that's okay. Because that's all I want to see from him.
The only
really.
time I've enjoyed him character-wise is when he worked off of somebody who was like, who was it?
Was it Ali?
Determined to get a rise out of him, right? Like that. This whole Zen thing is stupid and fake.
Oh, Kenny King, wasn't he doing that?
Yeah,
they
probably.
had like that. No, they had like their underground style match.
And Bailey kind of walks the line of like, is he a heel just doing this? Like. Other than that, he's pretty bland. Like, it's hard.
I don't think we can do a Ricochet arc with him, though.
But he's super cool in the ring. It sets up a ton of... and Mordos was the perfect opponent, right? Like,
yeah,
Mordos
absolutely.
looks good clobbering him and is a great base for him to
he
land
can
on.
Do everything.
Yep.
Then we get a patriarchy interview from Now, not from Revolution. Renee asked Christian why he chose to cash in at Revolution. He said Renee is related to John Moxley, so he refuses to talk to her.
I like that.
And he told her to leave. Yeah. That made me laugh right
First
away.
person to really acknowledge that, right?
Yeah, like outright, right?
Yeah.
Like completely blunt acknowledgement. He said he demanded his contract be returned to him because he got screwed. He said he won it as a singles match against Copeland. The referee made it a triple threat. He said he didn't tap out and he didn't pass out. He said he was relegating his breath while getting ready to turn the hold around, which is also funny. Nick Wayne said Cage is just making excuses and he lied to himself and he owes them an apology and an explanation. Christian shoves him and Mother Wayne steps in. Cage warned her that he would send her back to the Waffle House.
Mm-hmm.
He asked Nick how many world titles he's won and how many titles his biological father won, which is also great. He said Nick should be happy that Cage found him so he doesn't end up like his father, a coward who died in front of his mother's face.
Goodness gracious.
He said that would never happen to him. He said he's going to be the AEW World Champion if it's the last thing he does on this earth, and he told Nick to keep riding his coattails because the next time they have this conversation will be the last time. I love this so much. I loved him. First off, I loved the bit with Renee, and then insulting her. That was great. That felt classic Christian to me. He was an idiot for the cash in, so it's kind of tough, but I feel like he kind of salvaged it by being like his whiny, delusional self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this kind of helped it for me.
Well, like, I cashed it in. It's supposed to be a singles match. It wasn't supposed to be a triple threat. It's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny because, like, it makes sense, but also doesn't because it's known that's how that
kind
of thing
like
works.
You're the one that cashed it in while the match was still on.
It's kind of good heel logic, right?
Yeah.
I was surprised Nick spoke up, and I'm interested to see where it goes, and I kind of have to wonder if it's in place of Luchasaurus. Like, I wonder if Luchasaurus would have done this if he was here,
Mm-hmm.
or if this was always planned and like Luchasaurus is going to already be out, or if he's with Nick Wayne. I don't know. I'm open for a Nick Wayne turn though, because I feel like joining this group has been good exposure for him. It's got him on TV constantly.
But then he's done nothing.
But he's done nothing, and he's lost most of the time. So I'm intrigued to see what he does on his own.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be this prodigy, and I think he is, because I think from what I've seen,
he's cool in ring.
I think he's great in ring for how young he is. Like, he's only a couple years older than me. Right, which is kind of crazy. So I'd be intrigued to see what he can do on his own and how he can cut promos and what his character work would be like. Christian instantly snapped back into peak form here, though, with the disses towards Shayna and Nick. The Waffle House line, the Dead Dad line, it was just all great. If this goes well, it could be the most interesting thing this group has done in a while. It started out funny, kind of was like, and then it circled back around to funny, and it was interesting. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, I was super happy with this. Finally, something interesting for this group. It was almost like that contract was a bit of an albatross, and now he's free of it.
It felt like it a bit, right?
And it's super out of nowhere and happening really quickly, but the dynamic is shifting, and I thought Nick did a really good job of being like the rebellious teenager, and then Mother Wayne is the protective mother, and then Christian is like the prick of a father, right? All the roles are being really well done here.
Sabian's the older brother.
Just standing there, kind of maybe the other kid who's like doesn't know what side to get on and doesn't want to get involved. So yeah, there was humor, and then it got super intense by the end, and this is the most interesting these guys have been in quite a while. So I enjoyed this too. Again, Revolution's the reset, right? This group seems to be...
Yeah, the more you point it out, it's definitely seeming like that, which is kind of
going in different directions. I think so. Yeah, as long as the directions are good.
Yeah. And I feel like, based on how the main event ended, that only thing that hasn't really reset is Mox and Copeland, but that seems to be something we're taking care of
I hope so,
next week, right?
Yep.
So I think generally, the reset effect is kind of in effect, so to speak. Then we see MJF at Revolution. He's in his locker room yelling at himself in the mirror, then smashes it.
So very
before yelling at Lexi Nair.
So very orange. Yes. I don't know. I guess he's not finished with Hangman, is what we get.
Seems like it. It was effective here. It follows up in Revolution, which showing like his mask has slipped and the Hangman's
under his skin. Like the insecurities
I feel like
are
means
real.
They have to finish this feud, right? They have to do at least one more match. And I don't know where we're at after this.
But is MJF getting sympathetic almost?
No, because he's a prick.
He is.
And like, I mean, well, because here's the thing. His whole thing was doing these scumbag things, but not getting cheered. And so I think you can't feel sympathy for him because he was getting cheered, but then he chose to beat the tar out of Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
Which I was fine with, but most people didn't like.
Right.
So then it's like you can't feel bad for him because he chooses to do these things. But then it's kind of a paradox because then it's like, but Hangman gets cheered for doing worse things,
exactly,
right?
Which is MJF's point.
But MJF had the support, so, and like his whole thing was that he's their scumbag. So I don't know, it's weird.
It is.
I feel like he's not sympathetic just because he's constantly a prick all the time, right? Like always towards the fans. Like I feel like Hangman went insane because of Swerve, but he was never like trashing their sports teams and like going after the fans.
But the bottom line, I think, is it's complicated, and that's okay.
Oh, I agree. I love that. Right?
Awesome.
It makes MJF a complex character. I think that part is great, and obviously that's not up for debate. I don't think it sympathizes MJF, but it makes him more complex. It can sympathize him a bit, not to the point where I would turn him babyface again.
No.
But I do think it's a bit of sympathy, or like, not even sympathy, but just like understanding. I think is the piece, right? Because it's the whole thing where Hangman gets cheered and he doesn't, so you can kind of now understand why he's angry at Hangman, right? And so it is understanding. I don't know if sympathy is the word, but it's complex. We get to hear from MJF in the ring now. He says he has a splitting headache, which reminds me of that one time, I think it was the Bar Mitzvah promo where he had like the hat on and he looked like, and he takes his eyes off and he's like bloodshot or whatever. He looks insane. His hand hurts, his body hurts, and his face is orange. Oh, no, he didn't say that. My bad.
But it is.
What hurts them the most is everybody knew he had the match won on Sunday. He said the Cowardly Cowboy cheap shot at him and beat him as he did in 2019. I don't know what the cheap shot would have been here, but heel logic. He congratulates Hangman, though, and he says he was 10 times smarter than Paige and smarter than his fans will ever be. He said he would get his, and this thing ain't over, not by a long shot. Then MVP comes out.
He does.
He tells a story about when he met Max when he was 18. He was asking questions about the wrestling business. They met at an indie show, and he could tell Max was going to be big or whatever. Max had said he was going to be world champion back then. He did everything he said he would do. But then he asked him why he's not angry after Revolution, why he's not hurting people after Revolution. He's just hurting mirrors. He says the boys in the back don't respect or fear him anymore, but they do fear the Hurt Syndicate, and that's what he's missing. He said he was able to help MJF a long time ago, and he may be able to again, because wherever they go, championships follow. His business card is a golden ticket, and it may be time for them to talk business. MJF says he respects MVP, but he's not the same kid, and he doesn't need his help or advice. He was world champion for 406 consecutive days, but MVP, I really like this line. He says, focus on the word was, right? I thought that was really cool, and that ends it.
Two amazing talkers in a segment together,
both of them
right?
Are great.
And I think MVP is smart because he's making his best pitch to MJF when MJF's kind of vulnerable. At the most opportune
time, yeah.
Right, so that makes sense.
Even though it's weird for storyline purposes, at least for MVP, the timing makes sense, right?
But yeah, MJF's response almost sounded babyface, right? And it was just a weird vibe of this. Like, we're just reestablishing as a top heel, and then they chose to do this. Like, really good segment, two really good performers, but I don't know. I wasn't sure what to think of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was weird because MJF also doesn't seem like the type to join factions he doesn't start.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And when he does start them, they're not great. So I don't.
The Pinnacle, yeah, wasn't great, but I feel like had more potential. They just didn't do much. I mean, Sean Spears.
He's gone on to bigger and better things. Yep. Current champion.
He's culling the roster.
That's right. Oh, we'll get to that.
And then the Firm. The Firm. Do you remember the Firm?
I don't.
What? You really?
Is that Lashley MVP and?
No, remember when MJ came back as the Devil and it was him, Big Bill.
Oh.
Ethan Page.
Oh my God.
Was it Ethan Page? No, it was more. Was it? Yeah, no, it was Ethan Page and the
Guns.
Guns.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
And Stokely.
The Firm.
Yeah, and then they were done after they had the deletion match with the Hardys on Rampage.
If you say so.
You actually don't remember the Firm?
No.
Remember when MJF won the casino ladder match and the guys in the black suits came in and he won with the devil mask?
Oh yeah.
And then almost immediately after renounced that faction.
That's right.
Before he won the title.
That's not memorable, but now I remember it.
Yeah. So that's another failed faction. And like you said, the timing for MVP makes sense, but I thought he was only going for black talent. Now, this was never said outright, but that's what he's done before, and those are the only people he's recruited so far. Because even like Leo Rush, Ricochet, Caster.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's why he's doing it while Lashes and Shelty aren't there.
I don't think that feels too soon and also weird. And I kind of like having the black faction. Not like, I just think it's kind of cool, right? It was also weird because it diluted heel MJF, like you said, and we're just establishing mega heel MJF opposite new babyface Hangman. I was also hoping for more MJF Hangman. This kind of puts it into question. Love Hurt Syndicate, love MJF. I love Hurt Syndicate, love MJF. They don't need a mix, though.
I don't think so either. Felt strange to me.
We get Caster's open challenge. He cuts the same promo, basically. Then it's Takeshita. Caster says there's no way Takeshi's here to fight him because he'll kill him. He must be here to invite him into the Callis family. And maybe he said he could beat Omega, which Takeshita didn't. Takeshita decks him to the forearm, pins him, lifts him back up, raging fire, pin, win.
And Excalibur said the whole point, he's back in the win column. I think that was...
Then that's what I thought the point was, right?
That's what this was.
I guess Takeshita winning after losing and it's someone kind of established, and like something easy to trot out.
But can also be in a minute and a half and we can move on. Right. So
I hope he doesn't lose steam after losing his title. They need to keep on him, and he's a guy to focus on.
Yep.
TOE. We recap of Jericho doing stuff on the Revolution pre-show. Now he's cutting him a promo holding Gravity's mask.
A serious promo, at least.
I still don't care.
Very
but at
Shakespearean, like he's holding Yorick's skull there.
He was talking about embarrassing bandinas from his family, and they're still feuding.
I much prefer the tone here, though.
He came across
as a true heel, and I was actually engaged in what he was saying, whereas the tone...
It's just difficult to get into when it's been so much the opposite.
The tone of the Learning Tree stuff, I feel like I don't even need to pay attention, whereas this I paid attention.
I did like it better. It's just hard to get into because to me, it feels like he's putting on this act because he's been like... all the goofiness dilutes the seriousness here for me. It's just kind of weird. Obviously, he can pivot and do more of this, but I was going to say, if the
seriousness happens more, then...
Yeah, and he could go away and come back and be serious. But for me, it's like, this is all for the ROH title. It makes no sense this isn't on ROH TV, other than the fact that they don't care enough about ROH TV and want people to actually see this, so they're putting it here.
Right.
But this should 100% be on ROH TV, and I want Jericho off mine. This is better, but still like, meh.
Yeah, I had no problem with it, at least this week.
Inoffensive.
Yep.
Then we get Willow versus Penelope Ford. Suplex from Willow for 2. Double knee drop from Ford on the apron. Spinebuster from Willow for 2. Diving crossbody for 2 from Willow. and she takes the Matrix Stunner from Ford, then hits a pounce, and she gets the win.
Yeah, one with a pounce.
Yeah, which
no
I thought was
powerbomb.
Weird. No.
Weird.
Ford hits a Hulk Hogan chair shot to Willow.
It was not good.
Then Statlander runs down for the save. Megan Bayne takes them both out, and then an F5 to Statlander from Bayne.
Yeah, I guess like a good win for Willow. I thought the match was pretty standard and was mostly, I guess, getting us to the aftermath where they're keeping Megan Bayne looking pretty strong. So
yeah. Typical Dynamite women's match. Random, didn't matter much.
Momentum for Willow.
Yeah, if nothing else. Post match was a mixed bag. Ford did not look good in the post match. Statlander makes no sense here. Bayne looks great.
Yep.
So it's mixed.
That's a fair assessment.
I'm not sure which way she's going since she's showing up on the show for the second time here. But I like them giving us options. And I would rather, and I think she looks killer taking everyone out. I'm all for making her look as strong as possible. I'd rather her feud with Statlander first because I feel like there's some mileage left in that, like I said, because we had the Diamond match, which was cool, but the finish was kind of meh, and I feel like we should put some stock into it and build this as like a meat match, but for women, right?
Yeah, you could.
We could have meat chance for the women, which usually doesn't happen.
You could.
And then that also prolongs things to where she has a better chance of winning the title, right? Yeah. Like we were talking about.
Yeah, I think so too.
Then we got Mercedes Moné interview. She's undefeated in title matches. That's how it works. When you hold a title and you still have that title, you should be undefeated in title matches.
I guess so, right?
That is how that works.
It is pretty standard.
Yeah. Billy Starks walks in because Moné invited her. She says Moné has accomplished a lot. And
you love this, obviously.
She says she's accomplished a lot, too. And I was like, I listed the one thing she accomplished. And she said, and I was like, what else? And then
that's it.
That's not a lot.
Okay.
That's the definition of not a lot, actually.
She's young.
One thing. They both are young. She's looking for a change. They're gonna wrestle next week. Moné said her line.
Again, why is Renee so on board with Moné every week?
I didn't like it. Like I said, Renee needs to
finishes her catchphrases and gets excited to talk to like a heel.
Yeah, it's weird. Not even one that's affiliated with her husband.
But I wasn't impressed with Starks here.
Yeah.
She is young. I can give her time, but
she just sounded uncomfortable.
She did.
And not like confident, right?
But I will say it made a Moné segment feel different because she had to interact with somebody other than Renee. Usually it's just like her and Renee, and it's
Renee needs to stop though. It makes me like her less when she does the shit.
It's weird to me unless it's part of some angle that's happening.
Because
I don't think any other heel she interacts so positively with. But anyway.
No, definitely not heels.
And she's married to one.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I know, like, I think she... Because she never even did the shtick with Mark Briscoe, which I think would be a perfect time to do the shtick because it's entertaining, it's fun, it's infectious.
But it comes across like she and Moné are buddies, and she likes to...
Which I'm sure they are in real life because, traveled up and down the road in WWE.
That's right.
But it is weird just, like, plopped in.
It is.
Then we hear from Will Ospreay. He's got a bandage on his head. He says he made it at Sunday Live, and it's scary how at his age... or how good Fletcher is at his age, and he was struggling to keep up with him. He says one day Fletcher will be a world champion, and when they meet again, he hopes he can be the better man. Then he was telling a story about how he's in trouble with his wife because she told him not to do anything stupid off the cage, and obviously did the Spanish fly spot. He went on to remind us how, he did that, and he had 15 missed calls from his wife. He claimed he charmed his way out of it. He said he wants to be the guy, and to be the guy, there should be something around his waist, obviously the world title. Mm-hmm. He said Cope's got his title match, Swerve's got his title match, so it leaves him asking when he's going to call his shot, and when does that matter most? He's obviously talking about being in the main event of All In, or I've seen people call it Y'all In, because Texas, which I think is pretty
I've seen
funny.
that too.
The only way you can get there is by entering the Owen Hart Cup, so he's doing that, and he'll go through everyone in his way.
I think he will, probably.
If it's Cope, it'll be his pleasure. If it's Swerve, he can't wait for the rematch. If it's Moxley, then an assassin is coming for the throne. He wants to be world champion because the fans trust him. He knows he can do it, and he's on another level.
Yeah, another good babyface promo from Ospreay. He's really endearing to people.
I really like this.
I didn't love the whole wife story.
I did.
I just didn't like it because it's like disconnecting me a little from he had like a crazy, violent, insane match, and it's kind of like, I told my wife I wouldn't do anything dumb. That's
fair, but it didn't take me out from me. I liked it just because like the way he talks about it feels super authentic to him. He comes across super likable the whole thing.
He
right?
does.
Like, it's not super poignant in terms of story, but like I find it super endearing, especially with the British accent, his word choice. I did kind of like it because I think it's kind of like, you could also frame it as a heat of battle kind of thing, right? That's what he felt he had to do, and so it was kind of cheery here, but like that's kind of how Ospreay is.
That's what I think he's saying he didn't do, because it's kind of like he chose to do it rather than like
it worked though.
It did, but it's kind of
I really liked it just because like it's just what I like about Ospreay as a babyface. He comes across supernatural. It's kind of like the opposite of what we say about Cody, right?
He comes across as like a normal dude who happens to be incredibly gifted at wrestling.
Right. Like that's why I like the story. Like
who loves to wrestle and is
the
really,
way
really
he was talking about like, oh, I'm in trouble with the missus. Yeah. Like just the way it's like it just comes across super likable and endearing, and just made me like it just makes me like him a lot, right? And so to me, it's in a way where it doesn't feel calculated too. And like I feel like he's not necessarily overly trying to be like, it's easy, like he's just coming across that way.
And again, he's now introducing it's Owen Hart time, and that's my story.
I'm really glad he's calling a shot for that reset. Too. I think it makes that tournament feel important if someone like him wants to be in it.
Yeah.
And it's also because it reminds us it's coming. Because I don't think it's coming right away. Because I think it's usually around Double or Nothing season. And it's probably a little earlier because All In's earlier. But it reminds us it's coming, and I like that, right? It's kind of like if he was calling a shot for the T2, that's great because we're reminded that it's coming. He's been talking about going into the All-In main event for a while, so I feel like it has to happen. But if the tournament lineup is good, it could be a fun road to get there. Like I hope it's a good bracket. Like I don't want any throwaway. It's in the first round.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I think there's gonna be 8 people usually, so I hope there's like some decent people in there. Like even if he has to lose, I would like Takeshita to be in there.
I would love to have matches where I'm not sure who's winning the first round. Yes.
I would like Takeshita to be in there. If like Ospreay and Takeshita was the finals, I think that'd be really cool. Something like that, right?
Yep.
Or if Hangman is in there, I would like that, because honestly, if Hangman Ospreay was the finals, I think that would be awesome because 1, I don't think we've ever seen that before. 2, I have no idea who would win that.
Same.
Because I do want Hangman to win, but we all know I wouldn't complain if it was Ospreay as well, right? Because I think Ospreay's world champion is destined to be. But like, I think an ideal tournament final would be them, because then we can definitively pick which one it is between them, and it's the most, for me, I envision that as the most unpredictable tournament finale we could have, because I think you can make a great argument for either of them. And a good
heel face dynamic in theory. Good heel face dynamic in theory too.
Hangman and Ospreay.
Oh, sorry, Hangman's back
not
to be
anymore,
in.
Right?
No, not anymore.
But even then, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah,
because Ospreay will sell it anyways, right? And so will Hangman.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be cool because Hangman lost to Danielson in the finals last year, so it'd be kind of like a redemption if he were to win. And then it'd be kind of like a win-win. Like either way, we get a
somebody
good challenger for Moxley, right?
That we like, that could win.
Yeah, obviously, preferably, I'd rather Hangman win the title at Double or Nothing so that Mox loses the title sooner. But at the same time, a kick-ass tournament finale like that would be kind of killer too.
It would.
So
as we get an unboxing here.
Either way. Okay, so wait, I was confused because so the end port goes in there, right? Like
this goes into the PlayStation.
Oh, and then the 3 cords go in there?
And then the HDMI goes here.
Oh, right. Okay, never mind. I do understand. Because I remember we got
HDMI from TV to here.
Yeah, okay.
This is the proprietary PlayStation.
I was working. I was confused when we were doing it. Yeah. Anyways.
Sorry, if this is just audio, I'm just unboxing things.
The good news is we can keep that around, because since our TV is old and works, it's actually better not to use that right now, because it would just take up the HDMI slot.
So just don't lose this if you ever want to play it on other TVs that are not so old.
Take it back to Peterborough next time.
Yes.
Anyways, I really like this. I love Ospreay. He's fantastic. And then we go to another guy I love to hear promos from. It's Mr. Switchblade. I'll hold him as I talk about him. I should have been holding off. Damn. I did put Ospreay with the Owen Hart belt here.
The figures are all...
I was topical.
All show relevant.
I was very topical.
Yep.
I just didn't include TNA because I'm not a loser. Or ROH.
Well, you got the Hardys.
Yeah, but that's from NXT.
I know, but still.
White congratulated Ospreay for his win on Revolution. Praised him for calling a shot. Okay, there's another guy I would like in the tournament too. Actually, so before I talk about the promo, I guess since I got sidetracked, I either want him in the tournament as well because he's another credible guy who could win.
Yep.
I think in a real world, though, he's behind Hangman and Ospreay as likelihood. But
Probably.
still one would make sense to win, right?
Yep.
I'd either like him to be in the tournament, or if Hangman's not going to win the title Double or Nothing, I think Switchblade should be the one facing Moxley Double or Nothing. Like, either Hangman or Switchblade's in the tournament, not both.
Okay.
Because I think one of them would make a great challenger and one of them would make a good tournament winner. Whichever way it is, I don't really care. But, like, you know what I mean? Because I think Mox needs a good challenger, even if it's stopgap in the time. I think, unfortunately, White is that guy right now. He'd be a great challenger for Moxley, someone decently credible, like, with a solid chance of winning, but he still probably won't.
Yeah.
So I think I would like him in the tournament, but I feel like he's more lined up to face Moxley, perhaps. Either him or Hangman.
Yep.
Ospreay's obviously in the tournament. But anyways, he said if Will wants to be champion, then they have to keep him away from White like they've always done. He said everyone wanted to know if he hate Kobe with the briefcase on purpose. He said no. He didn't do it on purpose, and he said he failed to help Copeland become the world champion. He said Copeland gets another shot next week, and he mentioned swerving in the next title shot. He said he has his sights in the title as well, and that's pretty much it. That doesn't do it service, but you know.
He sounded good, really good energy.
I love his
By
promos.
the end, he got a little more intense, right?
I like how he gets like fired up, and then he just drops it down to like that calm tone really quick.
And I'm fine if he did whatever he did on purpose, to be honest, and maybe he gets involved in the rematch on purpose and turns on Edge. I don't know.
I don't want him to do that.
And then they spin off into a program to further elevate White as a heel, and White wins that program and moves on. No? I feel like Edge might not let him win the program.
That's what I'm saying. And like I said, I feel like even logically it doesn't make sense for him to turn on Copeland.
No.
But yeah. If Ospreay wins the title, Switchblade could turn heel and we could have them have a title feud, that'd be great. Or we could have them face off in the Owen finals, that'd be great. It could always be both. Between this, the promo and the briefcase talk, the last week's promo, and the no DQ stipulation, I feel like there is a chance he turns heel. I'd rather he don't, but I feel like there's a decent chance.
I do too.
It's just
whether you want it to or not. It feels like it's a path.
It's definitely a possibility, and I think it was a Revolution. Honestly, I was surprised he didn't.
Yep.
Gratefully didn't as well. But yeah, he kept his hat in the ring here for a world title match. Like, even though Death Riders were not high on it right now, I think the world title scene's looking promising because right now we're wrapping up Moxley and Copeland. We can basically write that off. Moxley Swerve, that's great. Swerve is awesome.
It's promising
that could be
once
really
it's out of Death Riders.
Yeah, but even while Moxley's holding, I think there's promising people to face him. Like Swerve's going to be great. I think Switchblade probably faces him. And then I would say either Hangman or Ospreay. And then once it's off him, even better because then Ospreay could face like Hangman or Fletcher or Takeshita or Swerve again or Okada,
Samoa
or
Joe.
Omega, or Samoa Joe, or
lots of people.
Very
stacked
not Copeland,
roster.
just not Copeland, or other people. Other people. If it can't be Hangman, I would take Switchblade versus Moxley Double or Nothing though. Speaking of the devil, it's Hangman. He's walking. He's getting talked to by Renee, but then Maxwell, Jacob Freeman, and he's right there. They're talking again. He said MJF tried to light him on fire the other week, and he doesn't believe him. He says, when you do something like that, you have to really mean it. He said
he knows he's lit fires.
No.
Yep.
He, unlike Billy Joel, he did start the fire.
He did.
I watched
on video.
He said MJF cared about what the people say about him. MJF said Paige smells like rotten ass, so he's taking a step back. MJF said what happens next in the story is that they're 1-on-1, and now MJF goes on to become a multiple-time world champion, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and one of the greatest of all time. He said Paige will try to climb the mountain, and as he's about to reach the pinnacle, maybe that's a pun, he'll tumble all the way down. He said Hangman's biggest insecurity is he knows he doesn't deserve the people's love, and he said he's right. He said he'll win the world title over and over again. He'll laugh at Paige up that mountain, and Hangman says, we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of liked Hangman starting off by doubting that MJF, like, you want everyone to think you're the type of guy who could burn someone alive, but I see through it, and I
like
think
that he turned that around on him, because remember, in their big promo segment, MJF was talking about him not believing Hangman had the stomach to be the monster heel that he was, right? And then I like that he was kind of calling his bluff, and also he's right that MJF kind of showed his true face there with caring about what the fans think. I think these guys still have a fantastic chemistry on the mic.
Yes.
And I thought MJF was also great too because he kind of turned things around to Hangman.
They know how to push each other's buttons perfectly.
Which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
He's like, yeah, the fans love you, but you don't think you deserve it. And I think that's great because that's what's always been at the core of his character.
And then MJF thinks he like truly believes he does deserve it, but can't have it.
And I think that's what makes the feud so interesting is that MJF maybe doesn't like he does want it, but maybe he doesn't need it, but he feels he deserves it. And Hangman doesn't.
It's the principle of the thing. I should be cheered.
Right. Not that
I don't even want it, but that's what should happen. Yes.
And I like that he tapped on what really is at the root of Hangman's character. Like when Hangman was at his peak feuding with Omega and the Elite, that was the crux of it, right? Was that he left the Elite because he didn't feel deserving.
Right.
He didn't feel like he could beat Omega, and obviously the Dark Order was there to help him up, right? That was like the core of his character. And so I like that MJF is digging in on that. You can see that Hangman's not quite sure how to react, and so as MJF's going on this rant, then he's just like, we'll see, because I think he kind of got caught by MJF with that line, right? So I feel like off the back of this, we could easily get another match, and I pray we do.
I thought the same thing, and I'm hopeful.
I hope this is like tilting us in towards that direction.
I agree.
And we can kind of ignore the MVP thing. Not that was bad, it's just it's weird, and it's a stray from where we want to be.
Yeah, just a little blip that happened as things happen in people's lives.
Yeah.
Right? Yep, it was good. And then main event time, I think, right?
Main event time, a
quote-unquote main event.
Underwhelming effort from Orange Cassidy and Mr. Hechicero.
My first 2 words of description are very underwhelming.
Yeah. It's the eliminator.
Partly it got 10 minutes with a 4-minute commercial break. So we get 6 minutes of a main event with a guy you know is not winning.
Yeah. Who we love. We love Hechicero.
We do like Hechicero
I think he's awesome. I just don't think he got to do as much here, which sucks,
he did.
because I think he's got some really cool stuff. There's Dragon Screw the ropes that he hit. He blocked the tilt-roll DT and did like a spinning hammerlock backbreaker. That looked awesome.
Yeah, he has some very innovative things.
That's what sucks. Is like this should have gotten more time with less commercial, and it would have been a lot cooler, because I think Hechicero is fantastic.
Yep.
And Cassidy is like king of a good TV match, because it was so good. It's just could have been a lot better.
Right.
Stun Dog Millionaire, tilt-roll DT from Cassidy. Hechicero counters an elbow drop into an armbar. Cassidy tries to fight out. Hechicero changes holds, but Cassidy gets the rope break anyways. And then the finish with the mousetrap pin. Cassidy pinned him. Afterwards, Speedball came out for stare down, but there was really nothing there.
Yeah, fine, and like good enough match, but not a main event.
Yeah, not a main event.
Mid-show, maybe.
We've seen Hechicero look a lot better.
Yeah,
I think. Result was never in doubt, so that also kind of sucks. Looks like it'll be Cassidy, Speedball, Ricochet, Briscoe. It sounds pretty sick, and I'm looking forward to this 4-way next week. I hope Mox Copeland's good, because that's a couple of major matches next week.
At least. Yeah, overall show was kind of disappointing coming out of an amazing pay-per-view. I liked Mordo's Speedball.
I thought it was a solid setup, though, because it's that reset, like you said. And I think they did a good job of setting things up. So maybe it's just a transition show.
And the tag team match was fun. But yeah, it is definitely, we're going in new directions, and I guess we'll see how...
Not a bad show, though, because I think it's kind of a switch period. And I think next week, like I said, with Copeland and Mox, we'll tie out the loose ends.
I went a B- because there wasn't anything amazing in ring, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think my favorite match was the tag match, because I thought that was really fun.
It was fun.
Even though it was random, I thought it was really fun, because the women's match was whatever. The Takeshita match was whatever. Obviously, it's an open challenge. The main event was underwhelming. And then, obviously, Speedball Mordos was also really great.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then the opener was a squash as well. But we had some good promos. Ricochet was great. Mox had a good one. Jericho was better.
It was.
MVP and MJF was weird, but still really good. I don't really like Storm.
I didn't hate it this
Omega was good. Patriarchy was easily their best thing in a while.
True.
And I really liked Ospreay.
You sound a little higher, like a B.
I would almost go B, but I feel like we needed one more
standout match.
Like if the opener was something more substantial, I think I'd go up.
Agree.
So I'll keep it a B minus too.
Fair enough. All right, we'll wrap that up and move into a little bit of trivia segment we run every week. We call it Off the Top of His Head. Trivia this week is what I'm here to talk about, and I decided to go with, I think it was motivated by the Naomi Belair Cargill thing. I went with biggest tag team breakups in wrestling history.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think there's 15. Tried to be timely. I'll start it with most obscure, I guess, down at 15, and we'll work our way up. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this, but so the first one, I'll give you the year. It's WWE.
You're saying AI is more factually correct this time?
It has. Oh, I think. Well, I guess we'll find out.
I feel like it's been a while since I've been had to hardcore.
In the beginning, it was terrible.
That was my favorite, because that's I'm better than you.
Fair. Okay, so the first one, it happened WWE 2009.
Okay.
And it solidified one member's heel turn before his departure from WWE in 2010.
Oh, Matt Hardy?
No.
Really?
No.
They like split the Rumble. No.
I don't even remember these two being a tag team. So we'll see. Maybe
that's not good.
Maybe this is wrong.
Ted DiBiase.
So no, the one big member snapped after losing a fatal 4-way and attacked the smaller member.
Big Show?
No.
Crime Time?
No. They're saying Batista Mysterio.
Okay. Yeah, they were teaming. I would almost
That's a
consider
thing?
it like a tag breakup. I'd more consider it like a heel turn because they were never like a sustained tag team. Like they had tag.
I don't even remember them.
They were tag champs in like 06 when Batista was world champ. Like they have team, but I wouldn't consider them like.
Well, you don't know wrestling, I guess. So
tag teams.
2017. This one you know for sure.
DIY.
Correct. I was just gonna say led to one of NXT's greatest rivalries. Both men becoming top stars. Mm-hmm. So when did it happen?
Takeover Chicago
against
AOP in the ladder match.
That is correct.
After. It was after.
Very good.
When the title card came up.
So this tag team, 1999, one member had solidified himself as a megastar, and the other he sort of split from the other person, and then they had a feud over the WWE Championship. 99.
Rock and Sock?
Yes, very good. I was going to say famous tag team with them didn't have a long run together, but is that accurate?
Well, like it's weird because they were Rock and Sock after the heel turn. Because when did this say when the heel turn was?
Breakup moment. The Rock turned on Mankind, leading to their feud over the WWE Championship. No, Rock solidified himself as a megastar. Mankind continued his hardcore career.
I'm pretty sure they feuded over the title before they were a team. Because like Rock turned heel in the Deadly Game tournament, right? When he aligned with the corporation, became corporate champion.
Yeah.
Which they screwed over Mankind, right? But I don't think they teamed before that because I'm pretty sure Rock and Sock was 99, which would have been after this because they feuded at the beginning of 99.
So maybe
I could be wrong.
AI hasn't gotten better.
But like I'm pretty sure they were teaming after because Mankind didn't start to become the likable version until like late 98 when they turned on him, right? And because for most of 98, I think he was still doing the creepy boiler room dude, or like it was at least his transitional period.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's right.
I believe you. This one, 2017. One was revealed as the other's mystery attacker.
Oh, End Zone Cast?
One gets fired, one gets released. Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
One gets fired, one gets released? What's the difference?
I guess, yeah. They made that distinction. I don't know why. 2011, TNA.
Oh, wait. Beer Money?
Correct. Very good. So Rude went on to become TNA's longest reigning world champion at that time.
Yeah, because didn't Storm win it from Angle, and then Rude like hit him with a bottle during when they had a title match?
Does use bottles a lot.
Yeah.
WWE 2004.
Evolution?
Sorry?
Evolution?
No. So one transitioned into being a wealthy, arrogant heel.
Oh, Acolytes?
Yes.
Did they have a notable breakup, though?
It doesn't specify a moment here, but it says.
So then, how is that a notable breakup?
They're basically saying he changed character, effectively ending the APA.
Yeah, I guess so, but like, there's no breakup moment, there, like turn, or you know what I mean.
Well, wait till you get number 9. It says multiple times.
Okay.
2002, one pushed as a single star, one a middling single star. 2009, one turning on the other, costing him the WWE Championship. One became a multiple-time world champion. One had a solid singles career. Both went elsewhere.
It's weird because the timeline would add up for DX, but I know it's not because they were both.
2009.
Edge and Christian?
No. But
Hardys?
Think Brothers. Yeah, the Hardys.
I guess so. I don't think either of them did amazing, but obviously Jeff did better.
So this team 99, I'm thinking it was still WCW. I don't think it was WWF yet. Brothers, one turned on the other. One went on to become a major.
Oh, Harlem Heat?
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been WCW, 100%.
Yeah.
Then they bring in Big T.
That's right. He was big, that's for sure.
He was T.
2002, WWE. The draft separated them.
Dudley's?
Correct.
Yeah.
Very good.
Reverend Devon.
That's right.
We saw him on the game.
Big run he had.
I was fighting Reverend Devon.
2001, King of the Ring win causes jealousy.
Edge and Christian.
Correct.
That one I know.
1991, One pursues a singles career, becomes a 5-time champion. The other does next to nothing.
Oh, Hart Foundation.
Correct.
I don't think
the next to nothing got it for you.
Yeah, who was he?
Neidhart.
Yeah, he played who? I don't think they had a notable breakup though.
I don't think
if you compare them to Rockers, right?
Yes, which might be coming up.
Nah.
Number 4, 2002.
DX.
Correct. I knew you were gonna get there. Triple H attacks Shawn Michaels with a pedigree.
And then there's like that parking lot angle too, because parking lots.
Parking lots are crazy. 2014, you definitely know this one.
Shield.
Correct.
That's
course.
A faction.
Yeah, this is getting easier. Well, trios tag, I guess.
Sure.
89.
Mega Powers?
Correct. That was a big one for me as a 12-year-old boy. And number 1.
Rockers.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Michaels Jannetty. What year?
92.
Correct. The barbershop super kicked, right?
I think it was on like Wrestling Challenge.
Was that on trivia last week? Because I went with heel turns, right?
It was on recently.
So I think it's been 2 weeks in a row. It's been mentioned. All right, good job.
Mention on every trivia now, just in case.
I'll try and work it into a question no matter what. As usual, you crushed the trivia segment. So we'll switch gears back into talking the week that was in wrestling, highlighting, notabling some Raw, some
notabling
NXT. That's right, notabling. It's a word. I don't know if you have any SmackDown stuff to throw in there. I saw things, but whatever. Anyways, it's Highspots. It's Restholds. In some crazy twist of fate, you watched a bit of Raw and a bit of NXT this week. NXT was awesome.
I don't remember what I watched.
You watched the main event of Raw.
I do know that. I don't remember what I watched from NXT.
You watched Javon Evans, Paige, and the main event, I think.
What was the main event?
Julia Vaquer.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I paid attention, though.
But you were there. You were present. Anyways, Raw, really quickly. Jey Uso beat Grayson Waller in 9 minutes. Theory obviously got involved a couple times. Uso won with the spear. Basic stuff. Then you get the heels attacking Uso after the match. Of course, they're nothing important. So Jey Uso ends up fending off the two of them even after he's finished the match. So
didn't Gunther beat up again or no?
And then Gunther shows up, puts
That's
Jey.
all I've seen from this feud.
Puts Jey to sleep and stands over him with his foot on his chest. So
that's all I've seen them do, because I think like this. I feel like they should not. Another reason they shouldn't have had him won the Rumble is that this feud doesn't have legs.
And I think that's my key criticism. I think I've been saying it for a couple weeks. It's like this has too much time. From the time this started to Mania, there's too much time for. And Gunther's awesome. I love him and I love his promos, but
when he's working opposite this with them, there's not much of a grudge here.
And it's also the finish of this with him standing on Uso's chest make the finish at Mania even more obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any.
Hasn't he beaten the tar of him like multiple times now? Too?
Yes. So I don't think Gunther's looking like strong to win this match, which we've thought for a while, anyways, right? Ludwig Kaiser tells Penta nobody will remember his name, while Kaiser is the fastest rising star in WWE. Not sure if that's true, but heel logic. And for the first time in his career, Penta will know fear. Penta responded in a video saying he'll have a no-holds-barred match with Kaiser next week on Raw in Belgium, and it's going to be the final chapter for Kaiser. That should be a cool match, and it does need to be the final, because I've been saying for how many weeks now, like, Penta needs to get something going heading into Mania, so I assume it's a decisive win, right, for Penta in this?
I feel like it kind of has to be.
And then Kaiser just keeps doing what he does. He does really good stuff and never wins anything. Or have Penta interfere and cost the match. He's pissed that Penta came without him and they start a feud heading into Mania.
Penta interfere? Oh, Phoenix?
Yeah, so like, how dare you come here without me and start everything without me? What the hell? You left me behind.
Maybe, but I don't.
I'm pissed.
I would like that better if it was Penta as the heel.
I know. Phoenix as a heel is tough.
That, like, it's more so him being a heel against Penta and a heel by himself. Like, I think if Lucha Bros are both heel, it's a little better because it's like kind of they're both just killer.
Phoenix is too likable
on his own. Yeah, and I don't see him being in like Pac.
No. Logan Paul and AJ Styles with some comedian that looks just like
someone say
Simon Gotch.
Like, that's
he does.
I
don't know who
his
he is.
Name. I don't.
I assume he's hilarious.
Actually.
Logan Paul beats him up. Styles beats up Logan Paul. Logan Paul walks away as AJ's sort of challenging him, I guess. It was probably fine. I thought it was kind of paint by numbers. We clearly need to get AJ and Logan Paul together. They love using celebrities. Right now, we are in the peak, like both companies just famous person.
AEW's not as bad, but they're not immune.
They're both doing it a lot. And I mean, part of it is I don't know who half them are, but that doesn't mean they're not famous. That's for sure. A fun tornado tag match, I thought. New Day needed help to beat Ray and Dragon Lee. And it was in the form of a masked man jumped over the barricade or came off the barricade with the Hurricane Rana, a flying headbutt, so some lucha moves, and then a very familiar looking delayed German suplex, right? And then the New Day hit their finisher, their combo finisher for the win after 12 minutes. Fun stuff. The steps in the announce table worked. And there was also like, did you see Woods, quote unquote, went through a table? They clearly had like scored the table so it would break. Woods like 90% missed it, kind of caught it with his arm, and the table just broke perfectly. Like you could tell they had put a line there for it to break. New Day needed a win. They got one, but I mean, they still needed help to beat a group that never wins. So it's not like New Day are looking super strong. So later on, I'll talk about it here. So Gable's mask, sorry, not Gable, the new luchador that showed up, his mask.
It literally has an American Made logo on it too, right?
It says American Made on it, which could just be its advertising that it's made in America. How dare you? In these political
if he says
times.
that, I will love it.
And so later, he's being interviewed backstage, and I forget who's interviewing, is basically like, because he's in the exact same clothes as the luchador.
Yeah, he just took the mask off.
And so he's pretending to not know what's going on. And
it's
then,
like Mr. America.
But then in the background, we see somebody in the mask being taken away by security.
I think he definitely put a decoy.
Well, and there was a chance for a switcheroo because he ran away from security.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
but it's really funny.
Kind of like how MJF did that recently, right?
Yeah,
something like that. I do think it's funny. I just think it's still him.
It is, but it's funny that there's
no, I like
doubt,
that.
Right?
I like that.
Oh, it's enjoyable. It's the kind of comedy I have time for on a wrestling show.
Gable's a funny dude.
He's
like Angle.
He's mini Angle. He really is. Yeah.
It's just they don't seem to see it for some reason.
Dom Mysterio got Finn Balor a match with Braun Breaker, and Balor's like overjoyed and hugging Dom. Finn, he's like, you just have to go confirm it with Pierce. So Finn leaves, and then Liv is kind of like, why would you get him a match but not yourself? And then I think the implication here is that Balor's going to get killed by Breaker. So it's like
is it a title match? I know they're facing next
It's
week.
funny you say that because I wrote title match in my notes and then I realized I wasn't sure, so I deleted it because I don't know if it is or not.
Okay, because I've seen. I'll see if I can find it.
I feel like Liv saying why didn't you get the match for yourself leads me to believe it was
right,
but I'm not sure.
Let me see.
And then we get a big long Cody Rhodes. I don't watch SmackDown. I don't need Cody Rhodes invading Raw, which I for the most part enjoy. So he's very Cody, takes forever to get to the ring. When he gets there, he has to suck up to the fans a little bit. Then he turns to rip on Cena a bit, and he's basically not going to let Cena get his 17th championship. It's Cody being Cody, right? So I guess people like this, probably. I thought it was bland and uninspired. And maybe I'm biased, but to be fair, I don't like Punk either. But I have the ability to say, yeah, Punk cut a good promo.
Like
you know
the
what I mean?
other week I liked.
And
personally.
if Cody is open heel and makes these promos, then I probably like them. But as a babyface, it's not happening. Raquel Gonzalez, I was a little surprised, beat Bayley to become the number one contender for the IC title. You had Liv grabbing Bayley's ankle at an opportune moment, and then Gonzalez catches Bayley, slams her on the announce table. And then a Tahana bomb back in the ring, and it's over after 11 minutes. So fine match. I was surprised by the outcome, but I guess a heel challenging Lyra next makes sense, right?
Well, and she's not gonna. It's just like a stopgap thing.
It feels like
it's not gonna make it on PLE,
right? And Gonzalez is a decent powerhouse and a different type of opponent for Lyra to face, so that's fine.
I can't find it.
I like the in-ring segment with Io and Bianca Belair there with Michael Cole. So Cole is kind of a jerk and is basically like, if Belair hadn't been at ringside, Io, would you have even won the championship? So Io's already a little pissed off. Then Rhea Ripley comes out, and she and Bianca have a conversation like Io isn't even there, and Io gets pissed.
It kind of reminds me of when we had the Joe Hangman Swerve build, and Joe was kind of like, after that, then he's like, no, I'm the champion.
Right, and they even, like, each of them pie face
I saw
Io
that.
out of the way.
Yeah.
So then Io just hauls off and smacks each of them, and, like, she goes away sort of just ranting and raving, and I thought it was really good. So I thought a good setup, and that match could be awesome, right? Like that's one on Mania.
Especially if it's a 3-way, I think it would make it more interesting.
I think so too.
Not that Io and Belair, like that sounds great too, but I think a triple threat just adds another dynamic, especially with it being Ripley.
And it made sense. Like, of course, Ripley and Belair are kind of obsessed with each other, and Io's like, dudes, but I'm the champion, right? So screw you guys, kind of thing. I liked it.
Io's awesome.
And then we saw the steel cage match. It is CM Punk, Seth Rollins. It was this is sort of qualified, obviously, a very good WWE TV cage match, right? So
yeah, like
came in direct comparison to.
It's very difficult when they have this.
I thought
the day after Revolution, then also the street fight on NXT after the women's match. No, I did like the street fight. I'm just saying it's very difficult. When
I thought this was heavier, more of a focus on storytelling than violence and wrestling. This was more the stuff at the finish, right, with Roman. So basically, within this, remember, I know you want to talk about the superplex off the top of the cage.
No,
explain it.
Because like it's a superplex where Punk's hanging from the cage, so ultimately it's a
no
superplex.
Different.
It is not any different.
But commentary made sure to say, one of them said off the top of the cage.
Because like there's a difference between this and then the Spanish fly off the top
literally
of the cage.
Literally off the top of the cage, yeah.
Like there's a very stark contrast.
So multiple GTSs, lots of finishers that don't work here. Rollins went to the middle turnbuckle for a super stomp on Punk, but Roman's Reigns shows up, pulls Rollins out of the ring, which actually means Rollins wins the match, right?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
For escaping the cage.
I actually did like Roman's part in all
this. Did. That's what I mean. The storytelling here, right, was more of it. And then, so it looks like we're getting that triple threat. Don't feel like it's a main event, though.
No.
Sorry, Punk. The inclusion of Reigns means it could be.
It's easily more of a main event than Uso.
I agree, but I don't think that's a main event either.
It's not. No, it's
not. So what are the main events? The women's and Cena,
I could see beating
Cody?
Women's. I think so. Cena and Cody, obviously.
For sure. After the match was over, right, Reigns hits a Superman punch and a spear on Rollins just to make it clear, like, I'm not really helping Rollins either. Stomp, officials come out to stop Reigns from doing more damage. Reigns sends Rollins into the barricade, gives Rollins a stomp on the floor. Reigns then looks into the ring and sees...
I really like this facial expression.
Paul Heyman is checking on CM Punk, which brings back this whole favor thing, right? So Reigns is not happy, right? He looks really good. He heads to the ring, throws Punk into the cage twice before hitting a spear, holds up his one finger in the air to end the show. So it's the whole, like, what's going on with Heyman and Punk and Reigns and what's the favor and how will that come out? So some good storytelling there, right? The match itself, like, a fine cage match. A good cage match.
Not a match year contender like the other one.
No, definitely not. NXT was awesome this week. This felt closer to a takeover than a lot of their PLEs. This was just 5 really good matches. So we open up with Fraxium versus Hardys, which I
thought decked out in black, Fraxium looked kind of cool.
I think because
like
they
Axiom
knew
looked cool.
The Hardys are getting cheered no matter what, right? So they can look a little heely.
Axiom had
so you didn't see this, and I thought the fact that it was the Hardys canceled out your desire to always see Fraxium. So I didn't wait for you on this one.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, I would watch it, but I don't really care.
It was good, honestly. Hardys won, which was sort of telegraphed, right, by this being just for the TNA titles.
Right, it was, yeah.
So Twist of Fate to Axiom, Swanton to Fraser, 13 minutes. Good opening match. The Hardys kind of stepped up and performed well. However, like, a lot of the speed and diving and high-flying stuff was left to Fraxium, but as it should be in 2025, right?
Absolutely.
So the Hardys need to work a little slower, safer, because they're old, and that's fair. Super hot crowd all night, really into this one as well. Again, only for TNA titles, so you knew where it was going, but a really good match, and I'm wondering if we're going to get a rematch for the NXT titles at Stand and Deliver.
I could see that.
And then,
do they not have another PLA, or is Stand and Deliver?
I think that's the next one.
I thought
that's Mania weekend, right?
I hope they do title for title at some point, but like, because I thought Moose and Oba was too. Because I swear at one point someone said it was, but
I thought so too. I think Oba did.
Right, maybe.
And then they had to be like, nope, kind of backpedal. I think he either implied it or said it.
At some point, they're gonna have the balls to do it.
They will. Jada Parker is then talking about being next in line after the Vacker Julia match. Mickie James shows up to give her some supportive advice, and James makes reference to her time mentoring on LFG, which we talked about in the news is now over because Undertaker wants his wife there. So I thought that was kind of funny.
It's horribly timed.
And you know I love Jada if you listen to this show, so I'm fine with continuing to elevate her until she eventually can be the NXT champion. I don't think it's happening yet, but
yeah.
I imagine for now she's next to qualify. She's the next like quality win for Vecchia, probably, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's stand and deliver. Because Jada can be built as a heel, even though this interaction was not very heely. And then how do you think they handle Vecchia, not to spoil the finish of this, but having 2 titles?
I don't know, because last time they did this with Keith Lee.
Because they're not uniting them.
No, they did this with Keith Lee, but then he just vacated the North American belt. So I don't know. Like I feel
there's
like
precedent to do that again. Then maybe.
Yeah, for sure. You could do like a double title for a while because that's what New Japan
and Vecchia is awesome. So if you want to do that with her, do it.
Yeah, but then New Japan also eventually unified them.
And does she have to defend both of them like on a PLE then?
That's what I'm saying. Like you could do like a double title for a while, but then you have to choose when to do the double title or not.
Right.
I don't know.
Looks like Stax is maybe taking the rest of the family minus Tony into a 6-person tag with Spears Group, which to this point is unnamed. Okay, so don't do it. Don't spoil it. They reference Tony's back not being good, but Tony says he's fine. Feels like we're going to eventually get to a Stax Tony program, right? Like,
yeah.
Maybe Stax starts actually accomplishing things without Tony.
Unless it's a bigger card, that's not a stand and deliver feeling match.
No. But so far it's been like Stax can't do anything without Tony there, and it should lead to friction, but Tony's like, it's fine, buddy, you tried. So I think something's got to give at some point. Another match I really liked, Jordan Grace beat Roxanne Perez, 12-minute match. And Perez just did a really good job of targeting Grace's
I thought
leg.
She was fully up on main roster now. So
I feel like this is her one last.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So she targets, it was really believable, like Powerhouse versus the smaller technician that needs to like take out a limb. The crowd, again, was super into this. Grace won with the back fist, that rolling DVD she does, and then the Beast Mode, which is apparently the new name for the Juggernaut driver, or Grace driver. It's the Beast Mode.
I like the Juggernaut driver because it's kind of an alliteration, and it's not just your name driver.
Yes.
But like
Beast Mode's fine.
It's a fine name. I'm not thrilled with it, but like it's fine.
Really good match. Grace looked like a powerhouse, hit lots of cool stuff, and Roxanne did her job on the way to main roster, I think, right? So really, another really good TV match.
Mm-hmm.
We get an Undertaker sighting. Did you see that?
No.
He talks to Oba Femi backstage.
I surprisingly did not know anything about it.
They fist bump. He says something like, go defend your yard. And I think this is like, we want LFG mentors on this show.
To promote that show.
And one of them's Taker, and he always gets a good reaction. So there you go. Trick accepts Eddie Thorpe's challenge for an underground match. He says he'll be a caged animal set loose.
Want to play it out in 2K? We can do a test run.
Amazing. And he has a fire burning in him. Eddie will feel it. So it's this idea that...
He didn't start the fire, though.
But it's like Trick is now not the confident, cocky champion. He is a serious, aggressive wrestler now. So
start wearing jeans.
Is it working? I don't know. But at least it's something different, right?
It's serious Kushida.
Yeah. Oba Femi defeated Moose in 12 minutes to retain the NXT.
I heard a lot of people rave about this.
I thought this match was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. And the crowd was crazy and made it feel like a pretty big fight. And these are two big dudes. So there's like a superplex, a press slam of Moose to the floor that was pretty crazy. A bookend through the announce table, counters, near falls, like big moves. Really good big man match. It felt important, like two big stars from rival quote unquote promotions, right? So big move responses throughout this. And we've talked about it a bunch, but it's just further evidence that Moose is getting signed, I think, by WWE, right?
Anyone worthwhile, they're taking him.
And again, Femi looks impressive. This time it's in a singles match against a big guy, right? So they keep throwing stuff at Oba. And when he started, I think they did a good job of always putting him in multi-man scenarios or stipulation matches or whatever. And now we're seeing what he can do.
Or like putting him against the flippy guys who he can chuck around.
Yes.
Right? Like Wesley.
He still hits the same power moves to a guy the size of Moose. So that's pretty crazy. They could run this back at Stand and Deliver too, but I think we're getting Trick Oba again, which I don't know who wants that, but I would way rather have this.
People who want to see Jay and Gunther.
I would rather have this again, frankly. Zarya and Sol Ruka are, it's footage of them in one of those smash rooms, just breaking things. And then they drink out of shoes because a shoey is an Australian thing. Remember Waller would talk about it?
She's Australian.
So they're bonding and becoming friends. It's adorable, you know. Fallon Henley asks Ava where her rematch for the title is. Ricky Saints walks in and is wondering, his thing is, why is everyone so angry here all the time? JC says Ridge was right. Ricky doesn't belong in NXT, and then she walks away. Ricky wants to nip that trend of him not belonging in the bud by facing Ridge Holland. Ava makes a match between the two
match for your new guy
for next week. Ethan Page walks in. He says NXT doesn't like outsiders like Saints, and then he walks to the ring. So part of what I took from this is it feels like the Ridge Holland experiment is kind of over, right? They tried.
Yeah.
A few times.
A lot of people are like, every time he's there, he's like, oh, it's Ridge Holland. And like,
so they tried.
I was never a fan of him, so I guess it's fair.
They gave him tons of TV. They gave him some high profile matches.
Character arc.
But at the end of the day, he's still a mid-card heel, right? And he's just a clean momentum-building win for the shiny new NXT toy.
He's the third most talented member of the Brawling Brutes.
I guess so.
Right after Sheamus and Pete Dunne.
So you saw this. Javon Evans beat Ethan Page in a really good 15-minute street fight.
Yeah.
The finish
looked awesome.
So you can describe
There's that one part where he tried to go for twist fade, you got a cutter on the chair. That looked pretty awesome.
It looked good, and then
there's the cutters at the table,
which was awesome.
The cutters were the best spots, and then it was the springboard cutter with a chair around Page's head that looked epic.
Looked great. Looked like it killed him. Really good match. Satisfying end to this feud, right? I thought.
Yeah.
Good chair spots, table spots, appropriate level of intensity and aggression
and appropriate attire.
A feud of this magnitude. You're right.
Both in street attire, which is always appreciated.
Must be. Yeah, the running cutter from inside to outside from the table was nuts.
Right,
yeah. And I thought Evans' spinning splash thing landed pretty high on Page too on that one, which was dangerous.
It did.
So yeah, it was the young hyper athlete proving that he can hang with the vicious veteran. And he picked up the win too, right? I thought really entertaining. Shows loaded with good matches. And Evans, another young guy, continuing to impress. Despite his athleticism and his cool moveset, he can pull off a violent feud-ending match, right? So awesome crowd again added to this. I enjoyed it. And then after the match, don't forget what happened.
So dumb.
Lights go out.
So stupid.
They have separate spotlights, right? So I make a note.
It's all this. It's spotlights on each of them. It's lights going around the arena and this music playing around. It's it doesn't sound like it, but it reminds me of when The Fiend would come out and he had the eerie music going on. I think that was cooler, and also it's not the same sounding, but this was just dumb.
So they attack Evans, and you got to see their power bomb in action.
Catapult him into a double power.
You were not impressed.
No, I'm not.
And so my thing is this evil unnamed group that attacks people now has the lighting team on board because they have custom lighting before they attack people, right? So.
And to me, it's just
they have to start doing something.
I don't think it's that cool to begin with, but to me, it doesn't help that
it's not getting.
They want it to be the Shield. That report has come out. That's what's really doing damage for me. I think a lot of people is that if it's coming out that they're consciously trying to make another Shield,
their team
or hoping for another Shield, then that's just gonna set them off from day one, right?
Yes.
That's just screwing them. And to me, it's you never had over the top lighting with the Shield. They just came out, beat the tar out of people, had a better finish, and were cooler. And again, they're three of the biggest stars in modern wrestling.
It's like in basketball, in slam dunk contests, when they would try and compare someone to Michael Jordan, you're just oh, that's never gonna.
Right.
You can't, that's not going to work out well for you.
Right. And so
it can't.
I just think it feels more like Retribution to me. Not quite there because that's mean. And Retribution was bad. It's not quite there.
It's not
I
as
think
bad.
That would be too mean. But the Shield also weren't, people want to point to the mask being the Shield. The Shield wore masks a couple times, but the masks were never the Shield's thing. The thing was the tactical gear, but they wore masks a few times.
They just need to start doing something or talk or
have some personality instead of beating people up. The whole thing was the Shield was the Hounds of Justice, so they're doing it as they see it as them bringing in justice, whether they're baby faces and fighting heels like the Wyatts or the Authority, or they're working for the Authority and their version of justice is beating up the baby faces and stuff like that, right? And they had the pack mentality in their matches. And
Dion Lennox reads books.
Right? He wears glasses, right?
Not anymore.
And
can't now.
We'll wait to see. I saw Keanu Carver on. Was he on Evolve?
I forget who's even in it. That's how much of an afterthought.
These guys haven't been.
It's Dion Lennox and the rest.
It's a little more difficult too when the Shield came in with indie cred.
Yeah.
For the most part, these guys don't.
Right. That's a big
Aside from Dion Lennox, we know he wears glasses.
Other than Roman, the other two, we knew they were good, and they were pretty positive Roman was good.
Right,
and they were right.
They don't. we barely know their names. They haven't spoken to show personality. Like, there's just a lot missing here. And that's some stuff can be changed, but at the same time, I feel like this presentation's it feels too try hard.
And the crowd's not, this is a hot crowd, and they're not super into this, right?
It feels try hard to me, for sure.
Spears Group gets a segment where they reveal their new name, The Culling. So
I think the name makes sense. Like, I know what that word means.
I don't love it.
I actually do have to do culling at work.
Right. So it does have meaning, and if
it's okay.
Spears says he took their gold, and next week the other 3 will take their hearts. Sounds a little bit like early Death Riders. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to punish the weak.
It did remind me of Death Riders.
Clean up this company. We need to cull.
It reminded me of the Death Riders I like less, because I liked early Death Riders.
Right. So we'll see where that goes. Eddie Thorpe responds to Trick Williams. He says Trick is finally motivated, but Thorpe is king of the underground. Then he quickly insults the Knicks, and Trick runs in to attack. Officials separate them. So we got Trick on TV, furthers their feud, I guess. And I think Trick has to win, right? Even though it's Thorpe's match. He's no Lola Vice.
Thorpe already won his match.
So,
which was a strap match. Like, pick one.
True. He has so many matches for a guy who never wins anything.
For a guy who isn't that great? He gets 2 matches. It's like Undertaker has his 2 matches.
2 signature matches.
Undertaker has a casket. Actually, Undertaker has like at least 3, because there's the one time he had a last ride match with Mr. Kennedy.
Right.
So there's that. He has a casket match. He has a buried alive match. Like,
and he and Thorpe are on the same level, you know.
Yeah,
basically.
Naturally. Actually, you can even go 4 if you want to go that one time he had the concrete crypt match against the Dudleys, where Paul Bearer gets put in cement.
I don't remember that.
It's like
Sounds
it's
awesome.
at Great American Baptism 4. He's fighting the Dudleys because they're working for Heyman. He's feuding with Heyman, and so they kidnap Paul Bearer and put him in this glass case. And if Undertaker loses, it's basically a standard handicap match. But if he loses, they pull the lever and he gets covered in cement. But then he wins and does it anyways.
Right.
And so they
basically remember that visual.
They kill Paul Bearer until 2010. I think they bring it back when Taker feuds with Kane.
Nice.
When Kane's bald.
Main event of this show is Vaquer taking on Julia. Only went 12 minutes because we've heard Julia needs time off.
Hence this being hastily booked as well.
Vaquer wins, doubles up on championships. Really good match. Obviously a bit too short. I thought I would have loved another like 5 to 7 minutes on this.
Of course.
2 evenly matched women going back and forth. Crowd, again, really energetic for this. Julia hit her avalanche butterfly suplex. Vaquer hit her sequence of, eat, defeat, double knees. The head bounce thing that Booker tries to kills for me.
It's the first time I'd actually experienced that firsthand. I was just like, dude.
Really cool Vaquer spiral tap caught perfectly by Julia.
That should be your finish. Because I think awesome. The SSB, whatever, is a cool move. I think that'd be cool if you do the backbreaker, then the spiral tap.
Yes.
The spiral tap's a super impressive move. I just saw Wentz hit it on
and she
TNA,
can hit it.
Right? Like, only a few people do. I think, like, I've seen her do it. I've seen Wentz do it.
Yeah.
That was cool. Styles used to do it all the time.
Yes.
Tyler Bate does a really good one. I think Ospreay has done it or could do it.
Easily.
Right?
Do a
so
double.
I think she should do it because I don't think a lot of females do that. And it's a really cool move. And dive finishers are cool. So I think, like, the SSB would be a cool setup move. You could have the backbreaker. She's in position to do the spiral tap.
Yes.
I think spiral tap's a way better finisher.
Julia caught this one perfectly and turned it into a Rings of Saturn, right? But it ends with a Vaquer super kick, 2 SVBs, they're called.
Oh, SVB? Never mind.
Stephanie Vaquer bomb, I guess.
Backbreaker?
Whatever. For the Vaquer win. Really good main event. Stacked show. This felt, like I said, more than a takeover than a lot of their PLEs do. I hope Julie recovers quickly and can return. But until that, Vaquer's awesome. And people really like her. And the women's division is pretty stacked. So if we can get our way...
people saying, less so about the men's division.
Yes, for sure. We can get our way to like Jordan Grace and Vaquer would be awesome.
Jordan Grace has to win one of those belts by the end of the year.
She does.
Because she can't be in NXT long, I imagine.
So maybe Vaquer defends one and then loses because she has to do both in a night or whatever. Anyways.
Yeah.
Awesome episode of NXT. 5 strong matches. Really quick segments and packages. Nothing felt like filler. Pretty much all action top to bottom. So a really good show, a special episode that was excellent. Nothing from SmackDown that you saw. I watched highlights. I didn't see anything super.
Yeah, it didn't pique my interest.
Other than like the Stratton Charlotte is not popping off the screen to me. That feud and Stratton being a babyface right now is.
I said to you that only makes sense because everyone hates Charlotte.
Yes.
Like that's the only reason it's
relative to her, you're likable.
It's the only reason it's not completely falling flat is that like we don't want to cheer for Charlotte.
Right. And I think that's going to wrap us up then, right? End of 243 has arrived. No pay-per-views or anything to preview or review, so just a standard episode. We get a bit of a break. We'll be back down here next Saturday for episode 244.
There is other stuff still out.
Yes, go check out the other stuff we released this week. Revolution review, awesome matches on there. Worst of is out there. Support us, like us, follow us, comment, whatever you need to do. We appreciate it all. See you back here next week at the same time-ish, same place. Till then, everybody, take care.